Station. Following program is by the Tipping.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
What's going on, everybody? Once again, it's another week, another Saturday, December 11th, 2021, right here on the Tipping Point Morning Show. It is yours truly, Mr. Just Ask Joe, and my brother from another mother, the esoteric concepts himself, Brother John Yah. How you doing there, family?
Peace, brother. I'm good. How about yourself this morning?
Oh man, I am fantastic. I'm fantastic. Yet another day. I'm hoping all of our listeners out there are able to plug in as usual, because I know we had a big storm last night.
Yes, we did.
Everything okay on your end over there?
Yeah, everything's okay on my end. I got down here to the warehouse, a little flooded in the back, but it wasn't bad. I got a pump that pumps out the water, but thank God I had the pump working.
Okay.
But other than that, it was great. I had a lot of breeze and tree limbs around my spot, but it was all good.
Okay, cool. It reminds me of South Florida. In South Florida, whenever there's a big storm or whatever, even if it's a category 1, which where I lived right outside Dade County in Miramar, Florida, it's so far west of the coast, definitely very far east, but so far north of the coast as well, to where we didn't really get storms we didn't get tornadoes or hurricanes, I should say, that will come inland as much. If a hurricane made it inland, by the time it got there, it was like a category 1. And in 10 years of living there was one, the year that I left, that was a category 1 that hit, and it looked worse than it really was. Just, tree branches and stuff blown around, a couple signs knocked down here and there. And it just looks bad. But man, you compare it to category 2, 3, 4, and 5 that have hit the Gulf in different areas, man, then that's some serious damage. But if you never really seen that type of damage and you see that category 1, signs blown down and branches blown, it looks a lot worse. So my I want to just kind of say something. The host of Truth Be Told, which is myself and Uncle Mishorn, send prayers to all affected by last night's tornadoes, leveling multiple homes and businesses. I think Mayfield, Kentucky, and it seems maybe Western Kentucky got the worst of damage and destruction in the state of Kentucky history. And as we look at it, just the same, the humanity and community pride to seek afterwards, seeking neighbors, ensuring that others are okay. All the lives lost over potentially 100 or more just before Christmas is, I think, some of the numbers we're hearing. So, that's coming from Uncle Mishorn for the Truth Be Told show, sending prayers out and such like that. So, what do you say when you don't send prayers out, John? What do you send out?
What do you say when you don't send out prayers? Well, you definitely have hope, great wishes for those who's suffering from it. Hope they recover. So, it's just good thoughts, having good thoughts for others in humanity, hoping that those recover and pull through.
Gotcha. So we want to send out good vibes, good thoughts, lots of hope, and just the same to everyone out there affected. So but outside of that, man, definitely a interesting coming to an end to a week with this storm. How's your week been outside of that? What you had going on? I know you're working.
Yeah, working. Great connection again with discovering products out of China, helping me to reduce my cost on my end while costs are going up. Trying to figure out a way to keep my costs down is really a rabbit hole, but it's been good. I can't complain of the connections that I'm making over there. So that's some of the companies that I'm dealing with now. Some of the companies I've been dealing with is good. Trying to find new companies to lower the prices is the task. But in business, if you are in business and you're trying to scale up your business, you're trying to scale it up, no matter if you're into the product packaging or whatever it is that you sell that you're making yourself. The ideal is to be able to scale your business up to compete with the big guys on the market. You're going to have to deal with China. Somehow you're going to have to be able to deal with overseas, even if it's just simple packaging, right? So don't let that intimidate you when the word China comes up, because there's a simple message that you can do to secure good companies over there that can supply you with some of the best products. And in fact, some of the products that you're getting here are mostly coming from China, made in China, where you're just going through a third party. So you're looking to scale your business up, you're going to have to deal with China.
You know, one of the things I like about your product is it's not all China. You know, there's certain elements of your product that come from China, as is with many products in the USA. But your staff's hands go into taking those elements to finish off and create what it is that people have their hands on when they buy it in the store. And there's so much quality that's put into it. I think sometimes in business we associate a lack of quality with China, sometimes because China has been so good about copying and emulating products, and then putting something that is the cost is so much smaller or less than normally would be, and sometimes that is associated to a lack of quality. But in your case, with what you do, you ensure that the quality is at the utmost, even in your purchasing from China. So shout out to you and your business for what you do in ensuring quality across the board, because I think that's dope. I think that even if you don't have a business, you still should at least learn Chinese, because here in America there's so much that says made in China. One day they may come over here to collect all their stuff, so y'all may want to learn Chinese, because they gonna come in here, take your clothes off and everything. Says made.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, and maybe we should have a good show on talk about communism, capitalism, and socialism. That would be a great subject, and which one works best for us in this country here. And I would say, based upon my experience, capitalism is dope. And so I can debate with anybody with capitalism, against socialism and communism. So one of the things I do love, and I want to express again, is the love for this Constitution here in this country. Yet again, when we just had the situation where the Biden administration was trying to force companies to force the vaccine mandate on their employees, and the companies bucked and filed a complaint or a injunction against the Biden administration to cease and stop that. Well, the federal judge granted that, and then they appealed, and the Court of Appeals sustained the objection, or sustained the stay,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Right. And so here we are again. Now, they probably take it to Supreme Court, yes, but they're talking again about the Constitution. So it reveals to you that no matter what the government is doing, the government is not the Constitution. And the government will continue to try to trample on your constitutional rights. You have to understand that constitutional right that you have, and you have to appreciate it. This is why I really am in these years right here. I have never been more excited to be in this country that protects me through my constitution. When you look at Australia, when you look at Canada, when you look at Europe and what they're going through the mandate itself, we don't have that problem because we have a constitution that protects us. Hey, listen, if you want to take the shot, that's fine. That's okay with me. But I don't believe that the government should force no one to take a vaccine. I don't believe the government should force no one to wear a mask, right? I don't think it's their right to tell me how to treat my body. Now, with that said, and I'm getting ready to close it with this, parents, don't let them experiment on your children. Don't let them tell you that they got a vaccine out for your child that they have not yet approved to experiment on others. It takes years to produce a vaccine, one that is efficient, right? That will work. So don't allow them to experiment on your child. If you want them to experiment on you, you should do that. That's fine. I'm sitting back. I'll wait. I will wait and see if your peanuts or your vagina fall out before I decide to take it. So I would just chill out. I'm going to wait 5-10 years from now, and then I'll decide. But don't allow them to experiment with your child, please.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wait too. You know, and it's not about, people say, oh, well, it's about conspiracy. It's not about conspiracy stuff. It's about proven facts. We've done it a certain way for all these years. It's taken 10, 12 years to create a vaccine for something. All these years, now all of a sudden, out of an emergency, we say, okay, we're gonna go ahead and these are the trials. That's what they did. They said these are the trials. So my thing is, you know, why do you want a kid had they've only experienced however many, you know, number of years they are of age on this earth. Their brains aren't fully developed until age 21. You know, before age 12, kids are creating thousands of brain synapses, right? So why in the world would you do anything to halter that? You know, hey, if you older and you want to take it, go ahead and do it, folks. It's all good. It's all good.
All good.
You know what I mean? Do what you do, but there should never be a force for anything. I mean, I don't even know. Kids, the survival rate for kids is like 99.98%. So there's not even a need for a vaccine among children. In the beginning of this whole thing, if anybody can remember, we were calling the kids, they were saying it on the news and everything, little bioterrorists, right? Because they were walking around with the
antibody,
you know, with the antibodies and whatnot, you know, giving it. But the vaccine, we've already seen, has proven to not be a force field that keeps you from getting it. Matter of fact, I would almost guess to say that every person that I know that has actually gotten the vaccine, I only know a handful of people that have not gotten COVID after getting the vaccine, you know, that I know. And I know a bunch of people that have gotten the vaccine, and a grave majority of them actually got COVID. So it doesn't prevent you. And we've established that. They've talked about it in the media, in the news. We've established that it does not prevent you from getting COVID. So what's the point? What's the point? You know, you could just focus on your health, you know, but most people are too lazy for that, right? Either way. You know, we could talk about that all day long. You know, that's a whole different show, bro. We got some guests coming up. We got some people coming on. We got a great show for you today. We actually have a couple brothers. The show today is what is it? The road to success. Sacrifices one must take to create success. So shout out to brother Frank Stoner. All right. Guests are called in a minute. We're gonna bring them on. Shout out to brother Frank Stoner with Health Daddy Wow, which I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna let y'all know early right now. HealthDaddyWow.net. If you go on their site, all right, I think it's all day today, but if you go on their site, you can use the code TIPPING, TIPPING, the name of our show, the Tipping Point Show. If you use the code TIPPING, TIPPING on HealthDaddyWow.net, you will get 10% off all day today. If you walk into their location off Ralph Avenue, guess what? you say you heard it on the Tipping Point show, or you can just walk in, you walk up to the register and you say tipping. Guess what? They're going to give you 10% off in store as well. So that is dope right there. Good stuff. Shout out to Sister Layla. Layla, check your messenger because I need a little bit of explanation on a couple things with that flyer. So check your messenger, please. Miss Maddox, shalom. Shout out to you as well, Miss Trinity Maddox. And as we are moving along with the show, we want to go ahead and bring our guest in. I believe we should have two brothers on the line, and welcome to the Tipping Point Show, brothers. Welcome. Do I have both Brother Moore and Denson on the line?
Hey, good morning, Joe. Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning. This is Brother Edward Moore. How you doing there?
Good morning, man.
And I believe is that Ramon right there?
Hey, man, it's Diego. How you doing, brother?
Diego, yes, sir. I'm always, when it comes to Brother Diego, I always want to be to anyone. I want to make sure we do announcements properly because I don't want to mess anybody up or mess anybody's got going on. So why don't you both just introduce yourselves, Brother Moore, if you can introduce yourself and just kind of tell the people who you are, what you do real quick, and then Brother Diego, if you can take it after that, I appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, awesome. My name is Edward Moore. I'm out of Chicago, Illinois. My background is in accounting and finance. Probably about 30 years experience there. About 15 years experience repositioning apartment communities in different financial markets around the country. I own a company called Option More, where we do add value for apartment communities over 300 units plus. I have a property management company where we're managing currently 30 units, own 19 of those. And I also have a tax business coaching, and an insurance company.
Wow.
Awesome. Brother Diego.
That was great. Hey, this is Diego Denson. I'm currently in Louisville, but I hail from New York City. I grew up in Harlem. And my background is in technical consulting with a focus on cybersecurity. I have about 10 years of experience working at a small practice doing that type of consulting. And I have about 12 plus years of experience investing in a multi-million-dollar portfolio for myself and others in my family. So I'm here to provide some kind of guidance on either piece. So I appreciate being here, brother.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what's up. Well, I tell you what, welcome, brothers, to the show. What prompted this, bringing you fellas on, I know you both personally, or I can say I know you both outside of here. And, Diego and I were having a great conversation about sacrifices that he and many like himself have made in trekking towards the $1 million mark. All right. Creating generational wealth. Brother Moore is a business partner of mine as well. We have a life insurance company called Best Financial Services Group, a financial services company with a focus right now on life insurance. He was in the office and I was having this great conversation in the back with Diego, and I called Edward and I said, brother, you got to jump in on this, put Diego on speaker. And we just all started chopping it up. And the interesting thing is that even in sharing that conversation with Brother John Yah, then he can relate to a lot of what was being talked about. But with that being said, I kind of want to get into that conversation a bit and move into, I guess, just talking about generational wealth and the focus that it takes to create that, you know. With that being said, John, yeah, I know you have some questions to start us out with. What's something on your mind you want to speak to?
Well, both gentlemen, of course, we all, I think, are successful in our own right, and I know that everyone has obstacles as they're coming up, especially if you brothers been in business over 10 years and what y'all doing. I know y'all have stories to talk about the obstacles, and mainly the obstacles we want to focus on is relationships, because sometimes in relationships can hinder someone from moving forward. I know a gentleman that was he was eligible to go and play ball, professional ball, overseas, and his wife told him that he shouldn't go, he couldn't go, and if he did went, she would divorce him. Well, they didn't last long. He didn't go, and he ended up just being a car salesman, but he definitely felt like he lost a great opportunity. Of course, him and his wife are not together anymore. So one of the question is, I think in this conversation that we're having, I'm sure you brothers probably got some stories of what was an obstacle that you had to face. What was the sacrifice, whether it was not being able to take trips, whether it was not being able to buy things, or whether it was you had to leave particularly a certain person or people alone in order to you move forward. I'm sure that we all got some type of story. So that's kind of what this conversation is want to talk about, because here's the thing. I'm listening to both of you brothers, and when I'm listening, I always try to listen for the obstacles. In other words, was there an obstacle because you're black that blocked you? Was there an obstacle because of some language or the way you may carry yourself that blocks you? So really, I believe in this. I love capitalism. I believe in this opportunity here in America that gives us this constitutional right to free trade and open market. And I think y'all both represent that, having that ability. While a lot of people don't believe that it's possible, and I'm listening to y'all, and y'all know it's possible. So that's kind of what we definitely want this bill to be about.
Gotcha. So with that being said, then, open us up, Brother Moore. You've accomplished some things. When you reach success, all right, what was it that made you say, okay, I'm successful?
It's a little tricky in essence, and I'm a definitely revisit what Brother John now said. But I've yet to call myself successful. Other people tell me I'm successful. Other people tell me I've arrived, and by all means, I'm not slow. I know I'm doing well, and I look at me versus the world sometimes. But I still got a lot to do. I still got a lot more I'm pushing for. And Joe, you've been to my house. If you read the things that we have on the wall, success is not what you attain, it's in what you give away. And so I'm not giving away enough yet, although my wife would say we give away plenty, right? So we're still pushing.
Yeah, I'm on her side. Y'all do give away plenty. I can say that.
But John, those obstacles you're talking about, I'll call them now, person, places, and things. I've sacrificed all of them. I've had to sacrifice people that I didn't want to. I had to sacrifice people that I needed to, frankly. Vacations, 15 years, 16 years in, my wife takes 2 vacations a year out of the country most of the time. I take none. I may take weekend getaways or something like that, maybe. And I live, as far as things, way below my means, because my savings goal is it's rather unique, and it's with a time ticker on it. So I have to put up this amount so that I can be comfortable at a certain date. So yeah, there's plenty of sacrifices in it. Brother Diego or some other brothers could chime in, but if you want me to give examples, I most certainly will.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. We'll definitely get some of those examples as well, because like I said, that conversation we had the other day was fantastic, and I don't think people are really ready. A lot of people are really ready to accept some of the sacrifices that need to be made. But I definitely like to hear about some of the sacrifices that we talked about before. Diego, yourself,
Yeah.
listening to what John Yah just said, and thinking about the idea of being successful. I've been tiptoeing around actually putting out a dollar amount, honestly. And the reason why is because, number one,
Sure.
success is okay. If I create a goal and I achieve that goal, then that is success ultimately, right? Achieved goals, right? But I'm tiptoeing around talking about dollar amounts and stuff like that. But one thing I will say is both of these brothers right here, right now, can stop working and be all right, and the family be all right for some generations. I'm gonna say that because I know them personally. They could both stop working, and things would be fine and okay, and their lifestyle of living, family, wife, whatever, would not change much. All right, for the generation or two. But go ahead, Diego, jump in, chime in there on that comment.
Sure. First of all, I want to thank everybody. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Moore, my brother Moore, for being on. We talked the other day. It was great meeting you. Good talking to you again. My man, brother Yah, it's always a pleasure. And let me get into it. There was some good things that Mr. Yah was asking to be specific. And I'm going to give some details. I like the part when Brother Moore was saying like he doesn't feel success. He's a very smart gentleman. I'm a little bit less modest. I'm going to be honest because I came from an extremely poor background, and I have had quite a bit of ups and downs, and I've had some success. And like Mr. Yar was saying, what were some of those obstacles? And quite often, the biggest obstacle sometimes is yourself, but I've also had obstacles with people, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's the people that's close to you. In my particular case, unlike Mr. Moore, I've been married before, right? So in my first marriage, I think that caused a lot of problems, similar to the story you told about the brother that was going to go and try to be successful in sports. Well, I mean, I was previously married, tried to do the married thing with the wife and kid, had ideas of what I wanted to work hard on, and having the right support system is important. In my previous marriage, my wife agreed, like, yeah, let's do those things. I'm on board. Those things sound great. And then there's always this tipping point. That was a plug right there for you. There's a tipping point there's a tipping point that happened. And in my case, it happened quite frequent. It was within the first 2 years into the marriage. The woman I was married to at the time, who's the mother of my son, still great friends with her, but we just seen different outcomes we wanted. And I think at the time we were both young, and I was more focused, and her patience ran out. I think she was more into expecting us to make a lot of money or grow and do things very quickly instead of being able to climb the mountain with me, or at least, while I climb and lift all the heavy stuff, just be my helpmate and carry the water when we need to, drink. But sometimes it goes that way, and sometimes it's your family. I had lots of people in my family who was telling me, man, you're doing too much. You're going to school too long. I was traveling a lot overseas trying to make connections. They were like, you don't think that missing out on a lot of stuff? And some of the sacrifices my mother would try to point out to me is that, and it really does have an effect, is of the point that I was at the time married, and I was trying to be a married man and be a father to my son. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have no problem sharing. I'm going to be as transparent as possible. I often see people just like myself when they make quite a bit of money, and you didn't want to put a dollar amount, but I am. When people are making the high six and seven figures, when they're making over $1 million, or they're making several $1 million a year, sometimes to climb those mountains and to work those kind of hours and to make the sacrifices, sometimes you sacrifice the relationship you may have with your kids. I mean, I've oftentimes seen a lot of friends of mine, male and female, who would judge themselves as not the best father or mother at the time while they were trying to climb up that ladder. And that happened in my case. I love my son. He and I have a great relationship, but it took a while. I mean, he has a void because I was always trying to accomplish things And it was quite a bit of times you miss things. You miss going to some of the games. You miss doing some things, the bonding, right? And some of those things do make a point. You know, his mother would often say to me, you know, thanks for all the money, thanks for helping, but, you know, it's about the time. And she's right. You know, when I get married again, my second wife, I'm definitely no better now and I'm in a better position. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of people I've met, when they're climbing up that ladder, if they don't have the right person with them, you know, choosing the right person and you guys going through the trials and tribulations to work together, as they say, a ride or die, it really, it does make a difference. It really does. And I had to learn that lesson myself. So, I mean, I'm just being transparent as possible that I oftentimes see people, you know, sacrifice their own marriages, their own relationship with their children, their extended family, their mother and brothers sometimes because they're, you know, they're focused. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're wanting your time. They love you, but you're trying to accomplish something. And quite often those two things collide. So I'll leave it right there.
On some of that, on what you have accomplished, when you look back, is there anything you would change? Is there anything you would change? And if those changes you would have looked back at would alter where you are now, would you make those changes?
It would definitely alter. Like if I would have done more things that my wife and I wanted to do and more things with my son, I definitely don't think I would be a millionaire personally. But I would have had a lot more opportunity to be with my son. Right? I would have probably spent a lot more time with the child like we did. And people would often tell me, Mr. Ya, they would meet me and they would tell me and my son's mother, my ex-wife, and you know, he's a great father. He's doing so much. He's making sure y'all got everything you need. Like people would say that, and me and her will both look and say, that's what the outside appearance, because they're judging me differently. A lot of women would look at their own husbands or boyfriends that didn't do so well in life, and they would grade us that way as if I'm a better man because I'm a millionaire, and the other guy you're married to, or the guy you have your kids with, he might not, you know, be as successful. He may have a, you know, a pretty good, decent 9 to 5. He's trying to make ends meet, and that doesn't make me a better father just because I made more money. But I would hear women talk to me and her like that. And I know better because they're just looking at outside appearances.
Yeah, isn't that like a damn if I do and damn if I don't? Like, you know, if I shoot for success and be able to provide, you got a woman that's upset. And then if you don't, if you just keep a mediocre job, she's mad at you because you ain't got enough.
Hey, and you know what? With that,
Mr. Morty chime in on
yeah, Ed, I want to hear that example that you gave before of your first wife, and if you don't mind sharing some of that, then that would be great because that ties in just to what John Ya said, because you did something that some wouldn't do when it comes to trying to keep the peace at home. You did something that I mean, you did it and then you did it again, you know. So just chime in on that, please.
Yeah, sure. I like what John asked questions, and I like what Diego's response. It made me want to piggyback and sit up here smiling, laughing, because you know I raced to Chicago really quick a couple of days ago to pick my son up and saw my ex and told her I was on this show, and she was like, "Ooh, I need to call in." I said, "Yeah, you probably do. I don't know if I would advise you though. You probably could." But you know, I had a very strategic strategy. Joe will tell you, I'm an analytical guy, and so when I started my business and it was generating income to give you guys numbers, I was doing about $360,000 a year. And so after the first year, I realized that not only could I increase what I was making, but if I sustained the lifestyle that I was currently living at that time, that I could probably put up close to $1 million in a year. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but you need about $875,000 or about $400,000 in income annually to be considered wealthy in America. And this was, I'm talking 15 years ago when I'm doing this. So I went to my current wife, my wife at the time, and I said, "Hey, give me 5 years. You're never gonna have to work again. I promise you. In 5 years, and man, we're gonna be good for life. Yeah, yeah. She said, okay, I got you. We'll do whatever. I'll do it. So the company I had required me to travel a lot. And so I was going a lot. But I was shipping all of the money back home. And she's banking the money, she's living. I come home on a break, and I'm tired of you being gone. You're gone all the time. I'm in the house by myself. I don't want the money. I want you to love me. Just be here and love me. And, okay, I love this woman to death. So I shut my company down completely. Got a job, selling furniture. I think I was doing about $80,000 a year, maybe. Struggling, because now she's used to living on something else. And so she's like, I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of being broke. I'm like, well, hell, okay. I guess I got to rev the company back up. So I rev the company back up, and I'm gone. And she's like, hold on, where you at? And so I have to be like, hey, I could be home, or we could live this life. Which one do you want? I want both. Well, I'm not capable of doing both at the moment. I don't know how to do both. So I barely know how to do one or the other, right? And so I offer her, I said, let me pay you $50,000, come in the office, work for me, help me, and then that'll get us to this position faster. She comes in the office, man, she works for 2 days, goes on vacation, takes the kids. Call her, where you at? I'm in Disney World with the kids. Yo, you supposed to be running the office. I need help. I hire an assistant, which I have to leave a project in New York, hire an assistant, get the office up and going. She comes back off vacation 3 weeks later and says, hey, fire an assistant. I'm back in the office. I fired a young lady. Somebody stays at the office for 2 weeks and she goes to Atlanta for vacation. Comes back and says, you know what? I shouldn't have to work for the company. This makes no sense. I don't have you. What are we doing? I said, exactly. What are we doing? Because I need to make a choice. Well, what you're giving me is rather than the company. Badly, I chose the company. I did. Because I saw the struggle, and you're getting on my case when I don't have money or when I don't have income. Well, if you don't get on my case, at least I should be able to have a lifestyle. And that was the choice I made. And then I'm not saying it's the right choice, bad choice, whatever. It's just the one time.
So, in thinking about that, was there any regrets?
I don't know if I would call it regret, because I would probably make the same choice again. I could see where there's some residue there, right? She came to my house. She came to my house in Lake Forest. She saw, the Jaguars and BMW driveway, and she looked up and said, "That's supposed to be mine." And I'm like, I don't know, because I got somebody else, and they appreciate all of that. So I can see where there's resentment on their part. I don't regret the choice because I provided a life for my son that he would have never had. He probably wouldn't have come close to. And so for that, I'm grateful. And full transparency, are we him close as we should be or could be? Probably not. I didn't get to go to baseball games. I didn't get to, go to he was big in martial arts. I didn't get to go to all of his tournaments and stuff like that. But he went to parochial school his whole life. He's never had to ride a bus. He
now in speaking to that, you missed some of his martial arts tournaments and things of that nature, but there was a reason, as a matter of fact, even mentored into missing some of his martial arts. What was that about?
Yeah, I was smart enough to get a mentor who was in the same business, a very successful, white guy. And it probably gave me insight into how white people look. And I was leaving a project to go to one of my son's tournaments. And he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Edward, you know what? I know you want to go and see your son at the tomorrow, and I knew what he was talking about. And we don't need this project. Don't waste, give up this money to go to your son's site. Then you gotta set your son up with a life. Otherwise, you can't get. And so I made another decision. Like, man, okay, you're right. I missed my son's appointment.
Now, you know, when I look at that, you know, Diego, chime in on some of that, because I'm pretty sure you have some of those experiences and things to speak to as well.
Oh, definitely, over and over and over. I mean, like I said, you know, I mean, I think after talking to Mr. Moore, he's very, very sophisticated man, very analytical, like he said. I think that I possess some of those, but I would definitely know that when I'm talking to somebody that's very analytical. Mine wasn't as analytical as me trying to, you know, shoot for certain targets, because I just in my mind felt like if I didn't jump on top of those things and try to do them when I had time to do them and the opportunities were in my face, I just feared, you know, growing up, like I said, I grew up in Harlem, and I kind of felt like if I don't get it down, I won't get it. So it was like, instead of me wanting to, you know, sit down and do the things I probably could have done better as a husband and a father, I was more focused on getting things accomplished. And it's almost the same thing like you were saying earlier, Mr. Yah. It's like, hey, if you're the top surgeon in the state, you know, your wife loves that because you can afford a certain lifestyle. But then as soon as you're busy doing surgery, like, why you ain't home enough? And that's what I really went through a lot, because it was like I was constantly trying to build and trying myself, and I kept making mistakes constantly. I made so many of them, it was insane. The first, you know, 5 or 10 years out of high school, trying different things. I kept making mistakes for like 10 years straight. And then, like, people just really didn't join your team. But as soon as things would go good for a while, you know, I was like Mr. Moore. You know, I jumped to making $100,000 to $200,000 to $300,000. People was on my team. And then it's like, as soon as that drop again, you know, you go through some business problems again, and you find out you made some mistakes. People, like, you know, it's almost like they liked me better when I didn't have the money coming in, because I had more time to spend with it. But then they would say, you know, when you got to get back on top of that horse, like, what's going on? You know, especially if these were people that relied on my money. And just like, you know, the last couple of years, I've been doing over 7 figures every single year. I think we had almost 2 million this year. And it's like, it's crazy to me, you know, people as close to me. It's almost like, it's weird. It's like you got people that supposedly love you, but you feel alone because you're making a lot of these sacrifices a lot of times, and they appreciate it when they're receiving, but they still got some a little bit of contempt, or at least they're going to give you some, you know, critique about how you should do it better, even though they're not doing it. It's a strange dynamic how it flows.
Yeah, let me say this. Listening to both of you brothers is very, very unique. And I'm going to say that what is success? You know, success is having an ideal and purposely pursuing it. That's what success for me. Doesn't mean what you have accomplished or approved. It's the point is that you brothers will go get us from the very jump. Y'all could be broke right now and start all over again and still be successful because you're going to still have a purpose. The problem is sometimes is that finding that vibrational match that is supportive enough to where it supplements what you're missing or what you're lacking. And that's what's most important when it comes to finding a mate. Not to say that all women are like that, because I know some sisters that are go-getters that ride with a brother who is doing this thing. I mean, all the way to the end, right? And so it's sometimes there's a sacrifice of being mediocre or being extraordinary. Most people are mediocre. Mediocrity is where most people are. And when they come across a person who's extraordinary, they don't know how to vibe with that individual, because that individual is definitely a go-getter. And it takes a certain team of people to be around them. And every successful person, or in other words, I don't want to use this word success, every person who have massed generational wealth that sustained their families for hundreds of years, done some great sacrifice. I don't care who it is. And right now, if you're looking at their families who are living good, their great-great-grandkids, they're right now thanking their great-great-grandfather or mother for those sacrifices that they made to make their life easier at this moment today. So think about not only what you're doing today, but what you have established. And for those who are not yet here, your great kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, right? They're not here yet, and yet you have already built it. Man, that is a take your hat off to right there to you, brothers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody out there said on social media, they said, is success worth family? Now, you know, here's the thing. There may have been some sacrifices in the beginning, like Brother Moore said, and Diego alluded to, maybe costing some closeness with kids or family or what have you. But what's it like now, circling back around? Because I mean, I think both of you probably have kids college set, and probably have things set up so that the kids don't have to worry. Is what's it like now, circling back around with the family?
So
You want to go first, Mr. Moore?
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Diego. In a quick thing. In mine, when my first wife left, she left my son, and she thought that that was going to be a hindrance. But when your mind's in drive and your back's against the wall, we as people, black people, we perform really, really well. So she thought she was killing me by leaving my son because I'm not going to be a great parent and run my business, right? And yes, my son had nannies. When I started dating my current wife, she picked up a lot of the responsibility for me. But my drive engine was that much stronger because now I gotta take care of us. There's his fallback plan is me. And so I'm doing all the sacrifices. And you go, and most of the time they're not warranted, or they're not noticed, is what I was looking for. And so when my son graduated high school, he, in a crowd of people, and I'm trying not to get emotional, in a crowd of people, his biological mother, my current wife included, he pushed past them, gave me a hug, said, "Daddy, you did it." Thank you.
Absolutely.
And that let me
That's
know
awesome.
that
Absolutely.
what I was doing was good.
Yeah.
And you want to know what? Man, from that point on, I kept trusting. Because my head, that's all I needed. As soon as I made it for him. I made moves when my son was 13. He knows this now. The day he turns 30, I'm handing him $1.2 million. The things I started doing when he was 13. Me, him, and my wife, we had to live in Texas by ourselves. We didn't know anybody. So we turned our son onto all of our financials. So we spend most of our time hoping that he don't come in the room and kill us so he can be rich right now. But he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. My family's good. And so all of that made it worthwhile to me. We're not as close as we should. Just a big cost in a marriage. I'm not close to anybody in my family. My brothers, my mother, none of them. Because it's always, every conversation, it's never how I am, how I'm doing.
Exactly.
See the money before they see me. And, slowing down a little bit, but at some point, you're going to recognize it's hurtful, it's damaging, and it's poison.
Exactly. I totally relate when you said that last part, but I'm going to tell you, this is Diego. I'm going to say this. Look, it's similar to what Mr. Moore was saying. Like my son right now, I have a son. I only have one child. My son is set up with a trust. He's going to have, I think he's got about $1.7 million in that trust right now. And then if you take death benefits, the insurance is more. And I got money set aside in that same trust to my niece. I have some college money for one of my nieces already. She's 11. And I already have college money set aside for her. And you know what's funny? My brother's never told me thank you. That's for my brother's kid. I have a brother that passed away in New York, in Harlem, a year ago, in last July. He left behind his wife and 6 kids. So I have those 6 kids in my trust, right? I fly to New York almost every month to help those kids out, right? And I spend her money every month. But the people that's close to me, that's in my family, when they talk to me, I bring that up all the time. I'll fly and meet people in my family and hang out with people, and they'll still just, they don't greet me with, hey man, how's it going? Let's just hang out. It's all about talking about money and the hookup. You know, one of my brothers just walked up to me one day and was like, hey man, I got an idea, but I need to borrow like $25,000. It's like they never talk to you about just how things are going, and things like that. It's very strange. And, John, Joe, I talked to you before several times. We've been out to eat, but even me coming from here, I moved my mother to Louisville. I bought her a condo 3 months ago, moved her here, and my mother, I flew her in first class. She got in the house, and she loved everything about it. And she said, how much you how much you pay for everything? And I told her, how much I had to purchase a condo and everything. And the first thing she said is, hey, why did it take so long? I thought you was gonna have somebody decorate it for me. That's what my mother said. It's like they talk to you differently about money.
Wow.
Then they just talk to you about their gratitude and saying thank you, and stuff like that, right? And I purchase her groceries every week, this and that and the third. And I have brothers, and I'm the youngest of 4 boys. I have brothers that are older than me, and they don't even help out. Not to bash them, I'm just taking the point that when they talk to me, they talk to me just about money, not just how I'm doing, if how things going with you, how's things with my nephew. They never even ask about my son, which is their nephew. I mean, they don't even do that. They just talk to me about that. I have friends of mine who live in other parts of the country, in other parts of they live in Europe, and I got friends of mine that live in Africa. They'll call me once a week or so just to check on me, see what my mental state is and how things are going. And hey man, how's your next trip coming up? Joe, I told you I'm taking 30 days starting tomorrow, and I'm going to be out of the country. I'll be back around January 10th. But the point is, they call on me and check on me. My own closest people, relatives, friends, a couple of my cousins that I'm not, as close with, they only talk to me about money. That's the only time they talk to me.
That's and that
Yep.
That's interesting, and that makes, to be honest, that makes the time that we get together and grab a bite to eat or whatever, not to sound all lame or whatever, but it makes it a little more special because I'm glad that we don't, you know what I mean? We just chop it up. That's it. And it's not about, money or trying to figure out, another investment. We just chop it up, and knowing, what you're worth, how much you make, this, that, and the other. I guess because I have people in my circle that flow like that. John Yah is a very successful business professional. Edward is a very successful business professional. Here in Louisville, I used to stay in the Mango Mansion on 3rd Street from a successful friend that allowed me to rent there, who owned it. I've always kind of floated in and out of those circles on either side of the railroad tracks. And so it's not like a big deal to have somebody that is a very successful person sitting next to me. I just treat you like a normal individual. So, it's interesting hearing that from you right now. But real quick, guys, I'm gonna give a big shout out to some sponsors, and then we're gonna come right back. And I would love to, if at all possible, if you guys got a few minutes after the 10 o'clock hour, to join us on the video link that we sent you. You can mute your camera if you want, or whatever. It's up to you. But per that video link, if you guys could join us and continue the conversation just a little bit longer after the 10 o'clock hour, that would be absolutely awesome. But real quick, I want to give a big shout out to, like we said earlier, healthdaddywow.net. All right, healthdaddywow.net. If you go there right now and order anything that is Brother Frank Stoner, healthdaddywow.net, one of our sponsors, you go there right now, you plug in the code there, discount code TIPPING, 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 you'll get 10% off. And according to what I just saw, it's all month, okay? For the rest of the month, it is, you use that code TIPPING, you walk into the store off Ralph Avenue. Again, you look them up on Google, Health Daddy Wow. You'll see them right there on Ralph Avenue. You walk in the store and you say you heard it on the Tipping Point Show. Guess what? You get 10% off of your order. That is very dope. So I definitely want you to check them out. Incredible, folks. I want you guys to take a look real quick. This is my brother Kari Muhammad there. It's Incredible LLC. Incredible. I'm sorry. INKREDIBLE Incredible. Incredible. There we go. Incredible LLC. Folks, that's Incredible custom.com. That is www.incredible, INKREDIBLE custom.com. Or you can text 678-506-7543. We're talking graphic design. I mean, this brother right here, his imagination is dope because I've seen stuff that he just does on his own, and it's absolutely phenomenal. If you see our flyers as well, you can check them out. That's designed by brother Kari Muhammad at incrediblecustom.com. Once again, folks, sayababa.com. All right, check them out. SYABABA.com. That is yours truly, brother John Yah, and they are in over 400 locations at a store near you. They make literally the best. I mean, I promise you, you ever try one of the soap sticks products or the Sayababa products, any of their incense. I've seen the brother with his hands making the incense. I've seen them package the incense. He won't let his employees come in and package if they have a bad attitude, right? He's not, you can't come in. I don't even think you come through the door if you have a bad attitude, right? So either or, he doesn't let that aura in his space. So every package that you pick up is absolutely dope and filled with nothing but positive vibes. That's SYABABA.com, right? Check them out. Whenever you get a chance, you can order, send it right to your house. And God'sLivesMatter.com. Check them out. You can get a free bracelet right there at God'sLivesMatter.com. Again, that's God'sLivesMatter.com. Every life has infinite value. Check them out. Now I'm looking real quick here. I also want to make sure that you guys know and understand that there is a Kwanzaa event coming up. All right. And this is Thursday, December 30th. This is brought to you by Liberated Minds Homeschool Academy, as well as Fork Nights. All right. This is a Kwanzaa Chess Bowl, Thursday, December 30th in Lyles Mall, 2600 West Broadway, Suite 205 at Play Cousins, right? This is a chess bowl, 3 rounds, and it's a $7 donation. Remember, check it out, folks. Thursday, December 30th. You can look up Liberated Minds Homeschool Academy, Fork Nights Chess Club, as well as Mizizi Homeschool Co-op. Folks, this is 2600 West Broadway, Suite 205. All right. Even if you just go to support, check them out, folks. You definitely want to be there. You got to support these clubs, these kids. Everything ain't about basketball and football, folks. You got to go check them out. As a matter of fact, Edward, from my understanding, you are a professional chess player as well, right? You go and you do tournaments, right?
Yeah, I play chess professionally. Sure do. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, you know what? Hopefully we'll get to continue this conversation here after the 10 o'clock hour. We are reaching that time right now. I want to say, let's see, BizBuzz people only start relating to you as money bag. Did you create the disconnect with your family? Let's see, Johnny Wakefield. I watched an interview where a wealthy man was interviewed, and the thing he said he always remember is the gratefulness in others he has assisted as what stands out. You have to have a mate and circle who nourishes you. And again, our Liberated Knights are the JCP second regional champs. So definitely come out and support them, folks. Once again, this has been another week. Thank you, Brother Edward Moore, Brother Diego Denson. Thank you for coming in to the Tipping Point Show this week. Folks, we will see you all again next week on another episode of the Tipping Point Show.
Peace.
For years of serving the African
All right, give as we regroup for this second half, see if we can get my brothers on to continue this conversation here. All right, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
You're right. I gotta get that tightened up to where it says The Tipping Point After Show. That would be dope. Hey, you're right about that. But man, that was a great show, man. That was a great build. Because it was candid. You know, I think Brother Moore even got a little emotional. I don't know. That's I might not have heard that right or whatever, but that's what I thought I heard. And it's this. There is some emotion to be had there because you're talking about the people closest to you and having to, in a sense, you know, kind of, man, you know, Ed said one time, he said that he told his first wife, give me 5 years and I'll make sure you never have to work again. He said, give me 5 years. And, you know, of 5 years of being negligent was kind of what he said. And I think that's awesome. Kind of when you look at it is 5 years of being negligent and, you know, to just carry the load at home, allow me to get out here and do what I need to do. And I'll make sure you never have to work again. Now that's a dope statement right there. And for anyone to not be able, I mean, it's wild that someone would not be able to withstand 5 years, right? But nonetheless, multiple people have shared that story. Diego, he said it was a year into his business where, you know, his first wife was unable to continue with him. She was unable to, you know, continue moving, you know, making those moves with him. Let's see. I think Edward is trying to join on his end. So we'll give him a second. I know Diego said he's going to join in a few minutes here. So we'll have both the brothers on and continue the conversation. But you know, that's pretty tough for anyone to kind of have deal with. Now you share some of that, some of those stories, right, John?
Yeah, well, you know, I think everyone has on their journey of this sacrifice. And when I say sacrifice, you know, I mean, you know, you take a part of your life and you dedicate it towards something specific. And what is the sacrifice? The sacrifice is you negate the other elements before that ideal came. And so, in other words, if you have a regular lifestyle, things that you are into doing, people, things, then you come up with an ideal, and then you apply time and effort in that ideal, meaning some things going to have to be sacrificed. Maybe shooting ball too much got to be sacrificed. Maybe hanging out on the corner may have to be sacrificed. So there are certain things, because you are now becoming focus-minded on an ideal that you want. to achieve and bring into this existence. So there's all types of sacrifice. It can be a relationship sacrifice. It could be, hey, there was some times I didn't get to go to my daughter's martial arts tournaments because I had to go out of town. So, you know, there's always sacrifice. And in my case was a little bit different than these two brothers, where when I got married, my first wife is the reason why I'm in business, actually. You know, so my first wife used to be married to an African. And so what she brought into our lifestyle was burning a particular brand of incense every time we had sex. So that, because why? Sense and smells is entwined with memory, meaning that if you smell something on somebody for so long, you end up thinking of that person. Well, this is what she was doing with our sexual activity, where she will burn a certain fragrances. If I come home and that fragrance was burning, guess what it's telling me? That's a signal. Come on in the bedroom. Same as myself. Now, at that time, I was working third shift. She was working for a law firm here in Louisville, and so, you know, my third shift, I'm getting off 7 in the morning, you know, and then she would come home around lunch and we would have sex. Right. And so when my business started, and 6 months into the marriage, my business started. So now, hey, listen, once the company that I was working for went out of business and I was out here on my own in the daytime, out here hustling my products and getting my products out here and selling it, I don't have time to stop in the middle of the damn day to have sex. I'm sorry. And so that began to create insecurity in the marriage. She began to believe that maybe if I'm turning down this pussy, I may be fucking somebody else. And so then that came into the picture, right? Or either I was that or I was gay, right? It was either one or the other. The reason why I'm turning down this sex in the middle of the day, right? And so it ended our marriage in 6 months after we got married. We was together for 6 months, got married, and it ended in 6 months. But those are sacrifices. My ideal at that time was, your pussy didn't mean more to me than for me to establish a business that my family and my daughter and my daughter's daughter would be able to have. I mean, I just wasn't bent on sex that way to say, okay, well, business, okay, forget business, just give me the sex, right? And so you have to make a sacrifice. You have to be able to say no to something. You always got to say no to something to achieve something, always. And so those are sacrifices.
Hey, sacrificing pussy is valid as well. you know, I mean, and you know what's funny is that ties into a post that you put up. You shared a post where someone said the reason why you're poor is because when it rains, you think about sex instead of business.
It's the reason why you're poor. You think about sex when it rains instead of farming.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, and I think that you could say that just the same. You think about sex instead of farming. You think about sex instead of business. You think about sex instead of all the things that would help you create generational wealth when it rains. You know, so it's just interesting. That's an interesting thing when you said that. And Ed, I see you smiling over there. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, I'm a Chicagoan, so allow me to quote another really great Chicagoan, that philosopher Kanye West. He says, "It's sex and money. When you get pussy, you missing out on money. When you get money, you missing out on pussy. So hey, find the balance."
Hey, you know, Diego, you said something one time that I thought was dope. Probably one of the first times you and I chopped it up. You said to me, "I can teach anyone to become a millionaire. You could work at McDonald's, and I could teach you to become a millionaire.
Absolutely.
But it'll be the most boring 9 years of your life."
I totally agree. It's all about focus. Can you guys hear me without any problems? Because earlier,
yes, sir. You sound good.
Yeah.
But that's a guarantee right there, man. I really could. It just takes dedication and focus. And I was fortunate enough that my mother remarried when I was 7, my stepfather, and he was a businessman. And I watched this guy do the same routines over and over. And everybody in my neighborhood back in New York thought he was corny, man. They did. They thought he was corny doing the same stuff over and over. And when I became 17, him and my mother bought a house in Florida. And when we went to Florida, I went with him and he opened a safe and showed me that they had like a little over $2 million he accumulated over 30 years. And he told me he did the same things over and over and over. He kind of didn't live above his means. He, he would just kind of live, even though he's making some pretty good money. I mean, this guy would live like he made like, $40,000 a year. I'm not joking. And that kind of rubbed off on me. It didn't right away. Nobody listens to their parents. My first 7 to 10 years, no matter what I did, I didn't really listen to him. And I finally started listening to him when I was about 28. And that's when things changed. And I'm telling you, the things I've learned that took me about 12 years to really ratchet this thing down. It took me roughly about 12 years to become a millionaire. And I'm saying I could teach anybody how to do it in 6. I don't care where they at. They just got to be focused. It's like getting up, eating the same oatmeal every morning, like the same thing every morning. It's I don't know who came up with these things on Instagram, but it's supposed to be all this fun, flashy stuff.
Right.
All the men I've met, I'm talking men. I'm speaking for men, okay? And like I said, I meet men older than me. I respect them all the time. And what I'm telling you, men, when I see men with steel sharp and steel, men I meet, they're very focused. They stay on task. It's not about flash and things of that nature. I've never seen it. I know men right now walking around that make $1 million a month and they look like they don't. I mean, their mind is that focused. Money ain't that important to them. It's like they learn how to turn it on and it's kind of hard for them to turn it off. They're not as excited as you think it is. I had a mentor tell me that it's easier for him to. He said it's easier to make $10 million than the first $1 million, and that's true. I'm telling you, it took me 12 years to like save money and accumulate money in accounts and try some things out to make $1 million, and now it's much easier. And I'm not trying, because I'm not even caring about the money no more. I saw some sister, she wrote it out there about people like gratitude and grace. I like that. I like you said, Joe, when you and I meet up, we could just eat and just chop it up. And I fly to meet friends up, Seattle, everywhere, just for us to just sit down and have a good time. It's very difficult. People I meet, they're always talking to me about money. And what I want to tell them, until I see that they're focused and on task and they want to wake up, eat that oatmeal every morning, be very bored, I don't know what to tell them. I can give them all these shortcuts they want to hear. They want these Cliff Note joints. But in my mind, I'm telling them, it's the same boring crap. It's been amazing. Let me tell you real fast. I'm gonna hand it back over. Even women that have dated me over the last, let's say 5 to 7 years, they think my lifestyle is strange because I can just get up and go, me, Joe, I'm on a plane every week. But they think I'm just having a good time. No, I'm actually going to do business. I mean, I might fly somewhere you want to go, but I don't spend time there doing what you think, because that's what your mind is. I go there and do business and go to the hotel, eat, and jump back on the next plane. They'll go there and say, you know what? I'm going to go there, take me a couple of days because I still want to shop. You know what I mean? They'll do those kind of things. And in my mind, it's like, shopping doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, I don't know how to explain it.
That's right.
It doesn't. I buy the same stuff at the grocery store I've been buying for the last 7 years. I go buy the same. I don't think about it like that. I think now that I've secured my family, and it's the crazy part. Mr. Moore said this. He said, even though he's done very well, he's always thinking, man, I ain't, it's another place I can go. I ain't hit it yet, because this man is know what we talking about. He's met people that he's like, damn, they don't went a little further up that ladder. And that's what it comes down to. It's more that I never am thinking about it. To someone else, my accountant just yesterday, we were trying to wrap up my end of the year. She was like, oh, wow, we at 1.65. We're trying to get to 2 million. I'm like, I don't care. I mean, in my opinion, when I first started my business a couple years ago, I was just like, as long as I can make $10,000 a month, I know how my cost of living is. It so happened we've been doing way better for the last couple of years because of the space I'm in and cybersecurity and IT and things like that. It's very seldom you meet brothers that are in software or in computer science. But my point I'm trying to make is everybody talk to me about money. They so into that. When I date women, they're like, oh, you flew me first class. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, I really came here to kind of do business. I'm not really into. I'm like Mr. Moore. He grew up in Chicago, the third largest city. I grew up in New York. It's large. We used to look in that building. That means nothing to me. I just kind of want to go and do the business and leave. But everybody I hang out with, they want to talk about money, doing this. Hey, you flying to Miami? Let me go with you. Hey, man. Hold on, you staying in South Beach? Now I'm like, I'm kind of there to do some business. I'm gonna eat somewhere good, but that's about it. But to them, their mind is like that. They're just staying so focused on that. And then they come to me and say, man, teach me how to make money. Man, first of all, brother, you got to be focused and be a task-oriented person. Come on, man. You can't walk in every meeting, you know what I'm saying, with a white tee, right? You got to really have your mind focused on what you're gonna do. And this got to be very task-oriented. Very task-oriented. And I'm gonna walk away and give you guys some more time back. I'm sorry for taking so much time.
Hey, I'm gonna say something real quick. You know, y'all got people out here that, you know, are looking to follow you. They want your IG accounts, your Facebook accounts, and stuff like that. And I'm gonna just say, you know, they do have their names sitting right up there. So if y'all want to look them up on social media, then the names are right there. But one thing I can say about the both of you, Diego will jump and throw something out every now and then or whatever throughout the day, you know, here and there or whatever. But he's not like a big social media guy, no. Right? Whereas Ed is like invisible on social media for reals. I mean, like, he's got a page. I think he probably has more posts on his page from like his wife giving him a shout out and stuff like that, you know, birthday shout outs, you know, and stuff like that than anything else. He literally rarely, you know, I don't even know if he know. I think he has an Instagram page. I don't even think he knows he has it. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think he knows yet. But it's you know, he probably pressed the button wrong or something. They created it by accident. You know what I mean? not even trying to do it. But that's focus. That's some focus right there, in just making sure that, you know, these things over here are not as important as what's right in front, which is trying to continue to create those, you know, those $1 million. You know what I mean? Those, because now that you've hit the 1 million mark, then y'all are like my man said, you're trying to go for 10, 20, and you know, 100.
It's easier.
Yeah. You know, my dad said something recently.
It's easier to make $500,000 than to make $100,000. It's easier to make $500,000 than it is to make the first $100,000. You're gonna work your ass off to get to that $100,000, and then you're gonna figure out how to do it. And it's like that. If you're very, very task oriented, you'll get to the 500,000 like it's nothing.
My dad said something recently to me. He said, you know, Joe, I see why the rich get richer. And he said, because, you know, I mean, him and my stepmother have just, I mean, they're dope, right? I look up to them a lot, and in their 50s and 60s, they're just going after it. They're still getting it, you know what I mean? And they're creating more and more. And he said to me, he said, I see why the rich get richer, because ultimately I'm having to create more tax shelters in order to try and keep my money. You know what I mean? And so there's more businesses and things to try and create in order to, you know, keep more of my money, you know, and people don't really understand that. They look at that and they say, oh, this person has all these businesses. And sometimes, you know, people just created the business, a different business over here in order to create a tax shelter to keep the money that they work so hard for. And people look at the conservative aspect and say, oh, well, you know, they got so much money, they need to be paying more in taxes, this, that, and the other. Bro, when you work hard for yours, you want to keep yours. You know what I mean? And that is a capitalistic, you know, conservative mentality that there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to keep your own money.
Taxes
Ed, I know
suck.
you got some things to say, bro.
Taxes suck. Taxes suck.
Hate the IRS. I was
Taxes
proud
suck.
of Donald Trump. I'm sorry. Just do something else with this taxes. I need my money. You know, one of the things I noticed in probably the three of y'all could chime in attest to this as well. Yes, it's a grind. It's a grind. If you got $10, it's a grind getting the first 100. If you got $100, you're trying to get to 1,000. It's a grind, and so on and so
Man.
on. So when you hit 100,000, 200,000, me in my first business, I literally made about 380K, and I would have had the same amount of money if all I did was 280K that
Yeah.
year. I was like, what the hell?
Taxes.
Okay, so when man, right, brother Diego, when you learn that, then you learn, man, it ain't that hard to get it if you focus. It's hard as hell to keep it. Everybody wants it, bro. Everybody wants it. And so now we could cuss, right? Now, now you gotta be an asshole. Now you get deemed an asshole because everybody wants your bread. Everybody. The bill collectors want it, the taxmen want it, the bank want it, your family want it.
Yes.
You want to spend it. You tricking off. You doing, dude. You wake up one day. Hold on. This is why I married Sharice, my wife. She was my accountant, and she looked at me one day. She said, "Hey, if you don't change what you're doing, you're gonna be the brokest rich guy I know."
Yes.
And I looked at her, and it made so much sense. So I said, "Well, you know what? How much money do you want me to spend a month? Just give me that, and you take the rest." Real talk, because I was wilding out, and she knew it, and she got me together in that regard. But everybody, everything, every place wants your money. Every now wants your money, and so it's like it's not enough to make $1 million. Like even when I said earlier, it takes about 175,000 to be considered wealthy in America. But you can't just get 175,000 because once you pay taxes, once you buy a house, once you get a car, once you have a baby, man, that 800 starts to look like $87, and you're like, okay,
Yes.
let me go to work. So it's crazy. It's no quick. We had an opportunity probably about 20 years ago, 16, 17 years ago, I'm gonna say. And the guy who mentored my company, he saw me spending, he saw me doing some things. And he said, "Edward, hold your horses. You need to chill out. I got money. You don't." And I'm looking at him like, "What are you talking about, Kirby? You alone just paid me about $1 million this year." He's like, Edward, I own 20,000 apartment communities. $1 million? Stop. You ain't got nothing. I said, okay, no problem. He comes to me 2 weeks later and says, "Hey, we're about to buy this apartment community in Memphis, Tennessee. The community was $5 million. They want us to put 20% down because it's commercial. We're only taking 10 investors. You, my man, I want you in. Bring me 100,000 cash in the next couple of weeks." I say, "Huh? I ain't got an extra 100,000, Kirby." He says, "Why not? I paid you $1 million. Where's your money at?" And I was like, "Whoa, hold on, Edward, tone it down. Tone it down." He said, "We'll catch you on the next one." You know how long it took for the next opportunity to come? 6, 7 years.
Yes.
Wow. So
that's how it works.
I was sitting literally, and Sharice will tell you this. I had $100,000 put in the savings account that I did not touch for 6, 7 years because I'm waiting on Kirby to come see you. Real talk. Man, it don't work the way people think it works. For real.
So what about mindset, guys? When it comes to mindset, out on social media, somebody says, "I've learned as a woman that the road to success is about taking out that emotional concept attached to success," or we can say attached to money. "There is a certain level of focus that must occur in the mind first in order to succeed and be able to maintain." Diego, how did you maintain focus for so long when it's so much easier to sit back and just, be regular in a sense? I mean, no one, don't get mad at me for saying be regular, but I'm just saying, to be regular, it's easy to do that. It's easy to just, because it's, you guys are of, when they talk about the 95 and the 5%, you guys are of the 5%, the small amount of people who make a decision that they're going to go and get it more than the majority out there, and they're going to be different and do outside of what the majority does. When you look at that, what was the focus? What kept you?
With me, man, that's a good question. Shout out to was that a lady that wrote that?
That was Miss Johnny Wakefield there. Appreciate that.
Great. Yeah, so to that lady, that's a great question. And what got me focused, the mindset was, I knew right away, man, I had to go on and marry me some old lady with some money. Now I'm just messing with you, man. No, the mindset was more of like I said, man, I was meeting a lot of people, men and women, that mentored me that was doing very well. And they were very cool people, but they were not nice. Just gonna be honest. Some of the mentors I had have not been nice at all, and they really gonna break you down and get you to where you need to be. And what I found out is that the best thing that happened to me is when I went into the army, I went into the military. Because when I came out of the military, they teach you one thing of anything else. They teach you systems and routines. So it's like I got so focused on doing that very young. So by the time I started getting more mentors that was at places I wanted to be, I'm saying, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take it all the way there, Joe. There'd be men that I wanted to be like that was mentor me, and I'd be so happy. I paid someone, but I would just sit there and sit like they sit. I'm like, this man got his shoulders up. My man got the cufflinks. I got them cufflinks back there. You see them back there. So I was focused. Like I was watching this man and these men like crazy. And even some of the women that mentored me that was wives, that I met some wives that they was on top of their stuff, man, like unreal. Right? Seeing wives help the husband they built some great stuff together. What got me focused is me doing the routine over and over. And I had a mentor ask me, he said, you need to find out what you do really good. And I was like, well, that's a lot of things I do good. He said, nah, find out what you do really good. It took me like 3 years to figure this out. I was about 30 when I finally figured it out. And I found out that I can take very complex, talking points or very complex issues and kind of bring them in and kind of bring them to where I can speak to the common person and make it make sense, which is what I do. I own a consulting firm, a small practice, so I consult with large clients all the time, and we break it down and get to the simplest point, to where I'm taking these guys out to dinner, to a strip club, and then back to the business office. We done broke it down past the complex concept, and I've helped them lower their guards. We can talk about stuff. So what I'm saying to you is that I just learned that routine in the Army, and it really helped me going forward, of just saying that it has to be in my mind to keep doing it over and over and over and over. You never meet people who run marathons. They say, hey, I did once. You ever notice that? You'll meet a person, they 65, 70, they still running marathons. You're like, how many times have you done the Boston Marathon? They're like, oh, this is my 5th time. And we done did we went all the way to Chile and did the Chilean marathon. You're like, damn, you really into marathons. You find out they don't stop, because once they stop, they're no longer a marathon runner.
Wow.
So basically, you're talking about what you needed to discover was your passion. You had a passion of breaking down information and making it simple. You were probably doing that all your life.
Yeah, well, honestly, I was not until I got into the military. And before I got into the military, I was like trying to go out here and be a ladies' man. I thought I was cute. Yeah, but after that, I found out it's more about trying to be around the right people. I used to read that all the time. It's the people you're around, stuff like that. And I used to be like, whatever. I'm smart. I thought I was. And then I kept making mistakes. Got into that military for 4 years, got out. It made me very focused. I seen somebody post in the chat about morning routine. That's what it did. It made me start my mornings out a certain way. And I still to this day get up. It doesn't matter if it's a Saturday or Sunday. You got me on the first call at 9 a.m. I was up at like 6:30 this morning, and I do that same routine no matter what. I'm flying to the Bahamas tomorrow, and even in the Bahamas, while I'm on vacation and talking to some people I know over there about some ideas about real estate, and I'm going to go to Belize, I'm still getting up early in the morning, and I do the same routine. It's weird. It's like I'm hardwired to get up and do it over and over. I get up. I journal every day. I do the same things, the same morning routine I've been doing now for well over a decade. It's been the same thing, even when I wasn't doing very well money-wise. It's just in my brain now. It's like the Army done trained me to do routines. And then that was, solidified and fortified, I should say, once I started meeting people that mentored me. And they was doing some of the same things. They would do the same actions, same routines and stuff like that. So it's really about just constantly doing it. Like I said, you don't ever meet a marathon runner who's ran one. They're still running marathon. As soon as they stop, they're not a marathon runner anymore. That's how it works.
Let me ask this question. This is interesting, and this is the code. And so you're speaking of a code. There's a code that you actually are using to start your day, to complete your day, and end your day. Now, I heard you mention that you can take anybody and you can show them how to be a millionaire. Now, when you asked that question and you said what it takes is discipline, right? Then the condition of our people is a choice. Is that correct? In other words, the condition that we are in as a people, like those who right now who are listening, there are three different types of people. There are those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. Now, for those who make things happen, this is what I'm listening to. So there's a code that makes things happen that anybody and everyone has discipline, or everyone should have discipline. So with that said, speaking of people under the lack mind conditions in our society, regardless of what the condition is that we are in, what you're saying is that anyone under any condition, from working for McDonald's, can be successful in securing a well financial life. So therefore, if the person's listening to this and you give them that opportunity and they don't take it, then it's a choice that they made to stay in that condition. Then if that's a fact, then Kanye was right. Slavery is a choice.
I'm gonna let the Chicago guy take that. Mr. Moore, get on there. Get on that Kanye West talk. Get that red cap talk going, baby.
You know, hold on. Let me. He grew up on the South Side. I'm from the South Side, but I hung out on the West Side.
He's from the West. He's from the West.
So I hung out on the West Side more than the South Side. So man, I just want to get that difference there. And he did not grow up in the hood. And these are, John, these are two different touching points for me. So hell no, slavery wasn't no damn choice. We didn't voluntarily get on the boat and come over here and change our life. So no,
my man said he with that Harold's chicken right there. I'm with you on this.
You know, but what I can say is sometimes the conditions we're in, we have to be jolted out of them. We have to be snatched out of them.
Because you actually said that earlier, Edward. You said that earlier when you said that, especially our people, when our backs are up against the wall, we tend to perform better.
Yes, exactly. And so it goes to what John was saying, that mediocre or that lackadaisical attitude. It's like, well, if everybody around me is comfortable with this, then dang, I could be comfortable. I could be good in that too. It takes a different eye for you to look at a situation and be like, well, hell, they comfortable in this, but this looks messy to me.
Yeah.
I don't want this. I'm not comfortable burning candles because my light's off. I want to burn candles because I'm trying to get my sexy on. I want to burn candles because I'm doing something visual or something. Man. So when you notice, hold on, this is comfortable for them. It's not comfortable for me, right? And so when Diego says, yeah, I could, if you're disciplined enough, and I got a military background too, Diego, when you're disciplined enough, then I could move you from your environment. I know a guy who was a housekeeper for Abbott Laboratories. He's put 15 kids through college. He works 80-hour weeks, and all he does is go to work, saves his money. He's been a millionaire through work a few times over, but he don't want the money. He pays for kids to go to college so that he can get a debt-free start, and that's his goal. And so in my mind, he's one of the most successful people I know, because his goal was to put kids through college. But he saw that in our neighborhood, kids wasn't going to college. And if they don't go to college, this is where they stay in. And not that college is the end all for everybody, right? But that was his way of filling a niche or a need. So yeah, I'm with Diego. I could probably take anybody and make anyone in the course of time. And the truth of the matter is, I don't even need to know your income. I just need you to follow this pattern and stick with this pattern all the time. If
it doesn't matter,
that, you'll be bored. And so I get a lot of people who met Edward, I'm going to say 6 years ago. And they say, dang, man, you blow so much money. You kick it all the time. You go gambling. How your wife let you do this? What they don't see is Edward when he was 28. and Edward for those first 15, 16 years when I had this goal in mind, when I made 100, 200, 300,000, but I lived off 30. They didn't see me working 12, 15 hours a day because now they see, well, he works Monday through Thursday and he goes to the country club on Friday. Well, that's 25 years later that we could do this.
This is the result.
I didn't have no overnight. I'm really, really good at chess. I ain't gonna lie. I'm really good at chess. I'm really good at martial arts. I could fight my ass off. But they don't pay like NBA contracts.
Right.
They don't pay like, so I didn't have it. I could rap. I put bars. The only time I do social media is on my birthday. I put bars on my post, on that, whatever you call it thing. I know I could rap my ass off. But you know what? Ain't nobody come give me no deal on it. So
Let's drop them bars. Let's drop them bars. Yo, you know my name is Dio, and I'm here to say 80s bars. No, I'm just messing with you.
That's what it be. You know, people need to stop being on their shit. I got a lot of dough, but it didn't come quick. I've been working. If people don't see that, and so now they see the fluff, the background. But it's a systematic. My alarm clock goes off at 5:30 every morning, Monday through Monday. Every morning it's going off. And that's when I pop up. Let me pray. Let me meditate. What can I do to make myself better? A lot of people don't know the best thinking you have is between 5:30 and noon every day. Yep. So capitalize on that. I'm up in the morning because that's the best time for my mind to think.
Facts.
You can't take my mornings from me. You could never take my mornings. I don't care who you are. You never get my mornings. That's my time. I don't let anyone get my mornings. You better be in an emergency where you just got, flew from a helicopter to a hospital and it was in the middle of a tornado and my mother's being held hostage. You're gonna get my mornings then.
Right.
So back to Bruh John. No, slavery was not a fucking choice. I don't know any other way to say it. But to stay in these conditions can be seen as a choice. Because it's like, man,
that's what Kanye's meaning.
Yeah, and I think that's more exactly. That's more of what Kanye meant was to stay in those conditions, and then mentally to stay in those conditions more than anything else.
That's what he meant.
And I get it, bro. But sometimes you got to tell some of our people literally because they'll be in the bathroom drinking the bleach thinking it's going to cure COVID. You know what I'm saying? You got to get real literal when you talk to our people.
Yeah. Well, because I guess the constructive, the critical thinking is not there as much. And Kanye, I think I would say that the man is quite the genius, because I don't know anybody who can take shoes and clothes that look like stuff that bums wear and then make it successful. Like that's the craziest thing in the world to me with some of his clothing line, bro. But yet and still, being able to take that mindset and understand that, listen, it's about getting your mind up out of it. But I want to go drink Friday night. It's about getting your mind up out of it. But, my friends are doing this dinner thing and I want to go do that. But it's about getting your mind up out of it, saving money for that house. Oh, but I got this thing that I want to do and it costs money and I'm going to spend that because next week I'm going to get my check. A lot of us, America in general, I think, has taught people to be a reactive people as opposed to being very proactive. So society says being reactive is normal. I think it's those that are among the small few, the 5%, that look at being proactive in every aspect of their life. So, how could you tell someone what's one thing that either of you can tell someone that they could do in order to be proactive and potentially change the trajectory of their life? One thing.
Well, if I had to give him one thing, let me give it to him with this hot 16 I'm gonna spit. Since Mr. Moore got them bars. No, I'm just, no, I would say to be proactive, that's tough though, man. Mr. Yah was trying to say, look, man, is this all in the mind? Are people making choices? Sometimes we're gonna make choices even if we ain't making choices, right? Let me get deep like Mr. Y'all deep over there. But sometimes we are making choices without making choices, right?
To not make a choice is a choice.
Yeah, that's what my father used to say all the time. Like, yeah, he's like, you competing if you ain't competing. Trust me. Correct. You want to stay in last place or no place, whatever. He would say those things. But to be proactive is tough because you got to have a desire. You got to say to yourself that there's something that's your why, right? The reason why, right? Mine was very selfish at first. To be quite honest, I was a much younger man. Mine was very selfish at first. I kind of just wanted to do my own thing. Even as a young father and an ex-husband, I was like, just kind of want to build myself up so I can have some things. I want to be able to travel. I'm out here gambling like Mr. Moore, having fun. And then, you build a house of cards and it crashed down the first time. You know what it's like, Mr. Moore, I tell you, you start making some money the first time, it's all good. And then it goes bad. Then you're like, oh, that was a house of cards. So then it's like, you got to come up with a desire why. Today, everything I do, I'm always thinking about my son, my mother. I'm always thinking about my brother's kids. I'm always thinking about if I were to be remarried and have more children. I'm always thinking about future things now. I wasn't before. It was all about me. I got to get this money and they need to understand. I mean, I'm serious, man. I'll be around people. I'm like, man, I'd be in rooms, right? When I'm 30 years old, I'm making, I don't know, a little over 100,000. I'm in rooms with people and I'm like somebody's boss. So I'm like a VP at a company, right? At a young age. And like all the women would start talking to the white guys in the room, like, hey, I got a question for you. And I'm like, I'm his boss. They didn't know that I made more money than the white guy. But in my mind, I'm like, I need that respect on my name. I'm paid out here. I'm out here flashing, wearing expensive clothes. I'm buying them expensive suits. I was wearing the Tom Ford suit before that song came out. And I'm out here trying to flex, putting every dime I got together to show somebody. I had the Maserati, all that kind of stuff popping off. But at the end of it, I did that for a while. And them house of cards come down, right? Because I've done 3 businesses before one was successful. While working full-time, doing 50, 60 hours at companies, right? And that house of cards showed me a lot, that I have to have a real serious purpose and a why, right? And honestly, I started going to people that was much older than me that didn't have the kind of money I had, but I needed them to fix my spirit, man. I needed them to fix my spirit so I can have that desire of why I wanted to do it. I went to my mother. My mother's horrible with money, but my mother kind of helped me get into a purpose where she introduced me to the best mentor I ever had, which was a pastor in Atlanta. Didn't know this guy was a multimillionaire. He owned businesses before he turned into being a pastor full time. He never had any sons. He had 3 daughters from his marriage. He was amazingly interested in my mother. They went to high school together years ago. He wanted to marry my mother. My mother thought he was corny. Married my father for whatever reason. But the point is, this guy took me in like I'm his son. Kind of got my spirit and mind focused to what I wanted to be and where I wanted to go. So the desire is what pushed me to be proactive now. I saw somebody put it in there. I think her name was Miss Wakefield. She was like morning routines or something like that. That's what got me there because I was always kind of disciplined after the military. That cleansing kind of helped me to stop, doing like Mr. Moore said, gambling off money, tricking off money, just having fun, to where it was like, what will be the point of doing this? Because after a while, if you make some money for a while, you're like, what's the point? Right? You know how to do it and it's not fun no more. It's like exciting, that journey there. But then it's like, all right, I know how to make money. Right? I mean, I made like in November, like $90,000, right? I don't care. My account was like, my bookkeeper was like, oh yeah, we doing good already. We ended this quarter great. I'm like, what am I gonna do with it? The first thing I ask everybody, Joe, I think I ask you this, but I ask you all the time when they want to know how to make money. I want to know why. What do you want all that money for?
What's the thing that you say a lot, Edward? We talk about all the time, where everybody wants the money, the business, but they don't want to put in the work.
Yeah, I want to know why.
Want to be rich.
Listen,
don't nobody want to
come
work.
to me all you want.
Want their own company.
Come to me all you want. Hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up on all these things. People hit me up on LinkedIn all the time. And they'd be like, man, I need to really sit down with you. And the first thing I ask them is, why do you want to make this money? I need to know your why. Because your why is going to get me to a point where I can tell you if it's going to happen or not. Just because I said I could teach anyone, they got to be teachable. I mean, I think that's a small percentage. I think that's a fraction, to be honest with you. Can anybody do it? Yes. Will anybody be willing to do it? It's that desire that makes you proactive. Proactive is tough. It's real easy to sit back and be like, damn, I think I smell smoke. Then you go react. But to go ahead and put safety guards in place, buy the proper insurance, make sure you got flood coverage in your house, to do all those things and be proactive, that takes you to be thinking and to have a reason why. Why? Because I want to keep my house safe. I want to do, you got to have a desire of why. It can't just be because I just want some bread. I need some money. I want to be able to do things I want to live. I deserve my best life, all that kind of stuff I see people talking about. And I'm like, most men and women I meet that's doing very well, especially men. I mean, you would never know these guys make a lot of money. I see a lot of pretenders. I see a lot of pretenders that they got some bread out here flashing on them Instagram with them rentals and everything. But like Kanye West said, I don't judge rentals, so I'm leaving it at that.
Yeah, but it's real talk. On John's point, and Diego, proactive is like they're always, and this is sad to say, Bro John, when you're coming from a distressed environment, you don't always know you're distressed. You don't always know you're poor. You don't always know you don't have anything. You don't always know you're broken until some eye-opening event jars you. And for the sad, this is sad. For the case of most of our people, they don't know they're jarred. Correct. I grew up in Chicago. It's projects all around us. And, the strategy was to make it in life like, oh, my mom is in the projects. So when the daughter gets grown and she has a baby, hey, go down to such and such office. They're going to give you a free apartment and you come live in the projects too. And you ain't got to worry about rent, blah, 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 blah. And so we keep that generational curse going, right? So, but guess what? John, if we don't know we cursed, then how we know to get out the curse? It's only until you go, I don't know, and I know Chicago.
Exposure.
Chicago.
Exposure.
Yeah, it's only till I go to the Magnificent Mile in my whatever it is I got and realize, dang, hold on, these people are doing this. These people are eating this. And somebody takes the time to tell me, yeah, man, you can do this. You can go over there and get that. Oh, well, I didn't know that on the South Side. We ain't got that on the South Side. So now I got some eye-opening event, right? Or until somebody runs around the corner and get blasted at 21, you say, man, I don't want to die at 21. What I got to do? Hold on. Mama's struggling. Mama got 3 kids. There's 2 dudes coming over here. We don't know. So, and we're in the projects. But Mama's like, I'm getting money for these dudes. But we're in the projects. Hold on. How much money are you getting? Are we really getting money? Because we still
here.
Yeah. So it's like, man, you got to have those events to say, okay, I need to move on. And the sad part for most of us is we got to be the catalyst for our family. Yeah. We don't have heritage. We don't have culture. We don't have structure. We don't have a great lineage. So guess what? You got to be the starting point. My son, Kalen, he got it made. He don't give a damn about nothing. Yeah. I know he don't, because I see him all the time. He don't. But what he does know is he ain't never worried about rent. Daddy got 19 of those. He ain't worried about mortgages. Daddy got 20 of those. He ain't worried about none of that stuff. Because he knows the pattern has been set for him. All he got to do is wake up one day and jump in the pattern. His dad had to create the pattern. So when you're saying, okay, we need to be proactive, you're not going to be proactive until something jumps you. And that's the sad case for most of us. Think about how you started your business. Think about how you got going. We didn't wake up one day and say, I want to be a business owner. We wake up and we're taught, oh, I want to be a fireman, a policeman, a lawyer. I'm going to go to the military, this, and that.
Go to college.
Go to college. We're not teaching entrepreneurship out the gate because we ain't seen none.
Right.
We're not teaching. We don't teach that there's 4 ways to really generate money in America because we ain't seen none. So it's only until you get smacked with that. I see the drug dealers. I knew Bishop John Wine before y'all did because he was on the South Side with a green and gold Mercedes. I know the drug dealers. I know, man, the Jamaican mafia. Because man, they was pushing Range Rovers before. Hell, I even knew what a Range was. I just knew it was a dope car.
So what kept you from that? What kept you from saying, you know what, I'm gonna just grow up and be a dope dealer for the rest of my life, and this is all I'm gonna do?
Nothing.
If you saw that.
Nothing. Because the sad part about Edward Moore is I'm analytical. I didn't care where the money came from. I just knew I needed it.
Yeah.
I just knew I needed it. That's why it doesn't bother me to be in different businesses, because I'm not married to the business itself, because I know the business of creating a business. So I don't care. We selling snow, selling shit, selling insurance, selling ass. I just know how to run a business. We could plug the product in.
You know, he says something, the business of creating a business. And that is something that people miss. The business of creating a business. Sometimes people they see something, they say, okay, I can make money doing this, but they don't take the time in figuring out how to do that. How to make that business
they're
work.
married to the business. They're not married to how to make the money. They're married to the business.
Exactly.
I see people post all the time, and I wanna support their business, but I can tell they're married to the business. They're not married to making money. Because once I talk to them once, I'm like, oh, you're really into, like, you fell in love with what you're trying to do instead of falling in love with how to make this a successful, profitable business.
Yeah.
It needs to make profits for it to be a business. Now, you can go get an LLC and call anything a business. You can call it that.
Yeah.
It's not really a business if it's not profitable. But, you know,
I don't
tell people that in the face. I don't tell people that in the face, but in my mind, I'm like,
So one of the things I hear, you Mr. Moore and Diego, the curse itself is the mindset. The curse is the mindset, and there isn't an obstacle or an agenda that's out here that's literally keeping one from achieving. If the person begins to address their mindset, they can achieve anything they want to achieve despite the obstacles that are out here. See, one of the things I mentioned, one of the things I like talking about and dealing with the Kanye story, you're right. No, we're talking about physical slavery. Today, we're talking mental slavery. You know, back then, it was a physical bondage. Today is a mental bondage. And one of the things I discovered and what I'm writing about is my discovering of who I am through facing the death penalty while in solitary confinement, when I understood my mind, that it was my mind and creativity, or my imagination of who I thought I was in the condition that I was in, that brought about what I am today. In other words, I began to think greater than my environment, which is very important. If you come from an environment of poorness, lack, environment, if you come from an environment where at the dinner table is always listening to negative music, negative television, negative conversation, then easily that becomes part of the download programming that the person actually begins to manifest in their life, meaning that the universe is only going to give you exactly what you're thinking most of the time. So in other words, if the person has the ability, or maybe they meet someone or whatever the case may be, that gives them the option. I know this, that as I'm writing my story, I see that I had several opportunities to be who I am today. In fact, my writing, Escaping Death Row, and Imagination of the Innocent Man, I talk about the individuals who was in my life, because every particle of who we are is a piece of somebody we met or went through. No matter how you sum it up, your life right now today is made up 80% of your subconscious mind, of your habit. I like what you said, brother Diego. Hell, I wake up eating oatmeal still today, right? And so it becomes a process of thinking. And once you begin to discipline that process, I remember being in solitary confinement. I had already saw myself as an innocent man. I already saw myself, but it was just an imagination, because why? I was facing depression while in solitary confinement, that the only way I could escape depression was to imagine something better than the condition that I was in. Didn't know that what I was doing was I was actually getting the universe to manifest what it is I was thinking. So after I was convicted, the Supreme Court overturned my case and set me free. And I had begun to starting the business that I'm now in 21 years. Exactly what I was thinking in solitary confinement. This is kind of what I mean when I'm talking about the mindset of the condition. Most people don't want to address what? Themselves. Not, we always love to point the finger at what stopped us, but we never want to point the finger at why did I allow it to stop me? And that's where it begins. And this is one of my understanding that I try to teach is to the individual that are in the hood. Most young men don't see a future. This is why they see death. They don't see themselves living past 25. So if you don't see yourself living past 24, guess what you're looking at? You're looking at death. You're already looking at failure. You're already looking at it because you don't see yourself 40, 50. I'm 60. You didn't see yourself 40 and 50 years old. When I was 40 and I realized I began to say, this is how I'm going to look when I'm 60. So I started resonating and vibrating good health information to me. Right. And so when we begin to understand that process, somehow we got to block these subliminal messages that are coming from our music, coming from our television, and coming from who tell us who we are. How did you come to the term of who you are? It's based on what you were told. And so in order to advance another higher vibration, you got to change your mindset of who you think you are. I started calling myself a God. I started seeing myself greater than the environment of what anybody told me. And I begin to see the manifestation just start happening. Like you said, brother, one thing is interesting. When I was making $500 a day, I was striving for that. And then I said, wait a minute, $500 a day ain't nothing. I want $1,000 when I realized. I started making $1,000 a day, right? And it became so easy. Even when I wasn't thinking about my stores was calling me, and I just couldn't stop it. I was still making $1,000 a day. So it's based on the mindset of how I woke up. I woke up thinking it, and like you said, brother, and I love it because in the mornings I don't allow no one to break my thought either. In fact, I don't talk in the mornings. I really try to wait until the noon till I even start communicating with anybody because I'm already in the morning focused from my night before of what I'm going to go after when I wake up. And I wake up thinking it. So I tell people, if you go to bed thinking lack, or how I'm going to pay my bill, you're going to wake up thinking lack and how I'm going to pay my bill. And that's going to be your whole damn day. But if you go to bed thinking you are abundant, you are an abundant. It doesn't matter what materials that you have. If you have the ability to think, wake up and move, you are successful. So if you go to bed thinking you are abundantly wealthy, you'll wake up thinking that, and guess what? No matter how poor you are and materialistically, you are going towards, and the universe is matching you, bringing it to you exactly what you are manifesting or putting out there.
That's what's up,
man.
I can't follow that. That was too deep. Go ahead, somebody else. Go ahead, Mr. Moore. That's too deep for me, man. I can't mess with Mr. Yarn on that deepness, man. That brother be deep.
Those are great nuggets, man. I ain't gonna lie, but and Joe will tell you, I'm not one for the whole positive affirmations and the rah. But I will say this, man. Position your mindset to think right in the universe. I honestly believe that if you're doing the right things by the universe, the money will come.
Yes.
With me and I use me and Sharice as examples, man. We try to give away so much, and then there's always opportunities and different things that find us that just keep us in the wealth and in the know, and that keeps resources at our hand. And the Bible says, as a man thinketh, therefore he goes, right?
Yes.
But it also says faith without work is dead, right? Mm-hmm. It also says a man's going to eat or live by the sweat of his brow, right? So you got to put all three of those together. So while I'm thinking I'm rich, I'm believing I'm rich, I'm making moves to be rich. Exactly. I'm doing everything I got to do. I'm grinding. And it's like, man, you know what? No, I ain't got $100 to give you today, because I know that $100 in 10 years is going to be worth $250 to me. Now you multiply those numbers when you get 100,000. No, I can't loan you 100,000. No, I can't invest in every business because I'm still securing me. Jay-Z said it. I can't help the poor from one of them, right? So guess what? I did everything I needed to do. Now let me give back. Let me help. And you'll find in that man, you'll accumulate even more wealth. But our people will be like, I want this change. I want to do this. I'm believing for this. And then they'll go right back to bed. That ain't what I did.
Right away.
because society has created so much contentment to where all the things that you were talking about that most of us would look at as abnormal are normal to people. The everything about the hood, waking up, looking outside, seeing this, that, and the other crazy stuff is we normalize that. So that's why when you look at even our children, a 10-year-old black kid, a 10-year-old melanated child seems to be more mature than a 10-year-old, let's just say, a 10-year-old melanated child in the hood, right? Seems to be more mature than a 10-year-old melanated or any other child that is coming up in a better environment, right? And I guess most of the time you compare it to a black kid and a white kid. You say a 10-year-old black kid seems to be, because what was that years ago? The one girl, they created the Amber Alert, right? They created after the girl, she got kidnapped. She was like 8 miles from her crib or whatever the whole time. And I've heard comedians make the little joke because there was another story about a young little black girl who got kidnapped, and she was like bound by duct tape and everything, and like she got out and was home.
She escaped the same day.
Yeah, same day.
Much farther. So the thought is that our environment sometimes creates that level of maturity because we normalize so much crazy stuff. You know what I mean? It's so like we hear the gunshots and this, that, oh, they shooting over there on 40th. You know what I mean? Like that's normal. No, it ain't normal. You in a war zone, bro. You don't even realize it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's not normal, and when your peoples walk in coming from just, doing dirt, and you hear that and that's normal to you, that's not normal.
That's not normal.
You know what I mean?
Well,
when all your people around you are mediocre and focusing on not being greater when our purpose on this earth is to excel, then that's not normal.
Man.
But but bro, it's normal if you don't know nothing else. If you don't see anything else, that's normal. If all I'm ever called is black man a nigga, then that's normal. That's all I see. That's all I know. That's all I hear, right? It's only until somebody tells you or shows you the change. And I defend it. I'm from Chicago. It's nothing to see people get killed every day. We walk by dead bodies almost every day. You have to have a code. You have to know a code to get in certain neighborhoods, or we know you're not from that neighborhood, and so we deal with you accordingly. That's normal. That's what we're used to. Nobody tells you or shows you anything different. So yeah, my son has a benefit of a new norm because I broke away from that. But if we don't break away from that, what are we doing? Brother, I'll give it to you. It starts in the mental. But yeah, our environment plays a part. Our environment is an obstacle. Our education is an obstacle. Our color is an obstacle. Right now, even being man, a real man, is an obstacle. The trick is, how do we not let it stop us? How do we not conform to these norms? How do we not stop and still recognize and hold the ability to help people who look, act, and come from the same environment we come from?
Deep.
I tell people, I'm 500 Cicero Block Insane Vice Lord. Plugged when I was 12 years old. Still claiming to this day. I ain't gangbanged since I was 16 years old. But that's my heritage. It's my heritage. I got 3 college degrees. I don't even use them, I don't think. But that's where I come from.
Man.
I'm just saying, when we don't know, we don't know. But we got to know how to embrace change and give back and pull those people out into the know. Diego, y'all could probably attest to this, you too, John. Man, I'm the breadwinner in my family. I ain't talking about making money. I'm talking about I'm the one who made it out. So guess what? Since I'm not on 83rd and Emerald, my family like, hell, he got to have money. Why? Because I'm not on 83rd and Emerald. They don't know my income. They don't know how much they just know he ain't here, so he must be doing well. Can we have 15 grand, please?
Man, my man got deep. And he
what
said
a crazy
he mentioned
number to throw out there.
he mentioned, the crazy stuff he went through in Chicago, and I heard you mention Jay-Z, so I got to answer you in my Kanye voice. How, Sway? Man, how, Sway? Oh my goodness.
Hey, look, you know what? This is something that I realized, and I knew the ladies would resonate, with this more. And I wish we could get more fellas that want to see, hear, and listen to this. But I think it's a pride issue sometimes with a lot of fellas, man. They see other brothers, doing their thing or whatever, and they not looking to look up and mentor or be mentored or what have you, to grab some of those nuggets. Shout out to Omni Electric. He did jump on here when we were talking earlier, and he said hashtag cut the cat. You know what I mean? To keep your mind right and focused, hashtag cut the cat. Might have to put that on a t-shirt and make $1 million with it. But
that cat though, that cat.
Woo! I would say that pussy has been the bane of many men for many years. Pussy has been the deterrent of their success for many years.
Hold on. I don't want to attack pussy though. Hold on, man. Because a properly used one will have your man out there robbing banks to get you that million.
Man,
women just gotta know what to do with it. Hey, let me tell you, make sure my wife is not around. I was on my way to seal a deal in Nashville, Tennessee. The deal was literally going to get me a check for $125,000 cut that day, and it was like a $600,000 project. And I was nervous. My girl did something, pushed me up against the wall, pop, 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 pop. Nigga, go get that money, and push me out the door. I happily went and asked for that bread and came back home and said, hey, baby, I just bought you a Jaguar. That's yours. That's off of that money I just got. Let's keep it rolling. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I made a mistake and bought a girl a car too one time. My bad.
I married her, bro.
You married yours. You married yours. I should have did the same thing. I was up there singing, I got the power. That's mine.
Hey, but you know what? Speaking of that, Diego, you still rolling in that BMW?
I do.
And because what I'm gonna say about that is that, like, you bought that in 2015, and
bought it cash, baby. Fleet program. I'll talk to y'all about that one day. Go ahead.
Yeah, you still rolling it, but that's something else too. Is that you're not the flashiest brother out there. You're more flashy with assets than anything else. Like
I will flex on your ass with my assets. I love them joints.
You know what I mean? Like your car's paid for. It's a BMW.
Everything paid for, baby.
The house is paid for, but this 5,000 square feet. But it's paid for. You know what I mean? So like, but you're not, but if you look into things that most people probably don't look at, like, okay, quality suits, quality wares and things of that nature, then there's a different story. But it's just, you're not out there. Like, I ain't seen you with like big giant gold chains and, all the name brand, everything's, flashing out there.
I never understood that, man. I'm from Harlem too. That's like the Miami and Harlem, like the flash capitals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the thing is, and I do got them suits back there. You see them? I got like 15 suits. But the thing is, I don't judge brothers over that. I don't judge brothers over wearing suits and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, that's just me. I like wearing suits and stuff. But the thing is, I'm not flashy because I kind of know where it started. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand where it started. Like, I grew up in projects and stuff. I know how it started. I watched my uncles and all of them, be drug dealers and stuff like that, go to prison. Watch one of my uncles get murdered when he was like 24. I know where it started. So it's more like that, bro. I know where it started. I not only got out the hood like my man Moore did. I got out the hood and started messing with, everybody else that was doing stuff not right. So when I first started messing with white people, for example, they weren't always doing stuff legal. And people got this idea that white people always make their money legally. So I was just trying to find ways to make money. I wasn't married to how the money is made, the business, so to speak, like Mr. Moore was saying. I was like, I just need to figure out some ways to get bread. And I was meeting people through different avenues that was making money on the books and off the books, honestly. So don't get me wrong. That's how I came out the gate.
I think I've met more successful, wealthy white people that have at some point in their career made their money off books in a lot of ways.
So that's what I'm saying.
I can name several that I've known, been in contact with, had conversations with, or what have you, that made plenty of their money off books. And some of them still rolling that way.
That's why I'm not flashy. I've been humbled several times by some guys. I've been humbled. That's why I'm not flashy. I was trying to be flashy when I was a much younger man in my early 20s, mid-20s, getting a little bit of bread when you think you're making some money. And then I wanted to show everybody that I was better than them that was from the hood, get out the hood, do some things they weren't doing. But then I got humbled by some guys. I see what some guys was kind of bread they was breaking on the books and off the books. And then I was like, man, dude sitting up here driving a Subaru and he made that check today. Them dudes humble me. I remember a dude told me that, had an older white guy. He was just like, I was like, yeah, man, I'm trying to get to that mill. He was like, what do you mean? I said, I'm trying to get that million. He was like, oh, that's all you're trying to do? I was like, hey, man, what the hell? Who is this white dude? It just blew my mind. Stuff like that humble me. And then when I started making money, I wanted to get out there and get around all the beauty queens. And I started traveling around the globe, going to Africa, all over the place, Europe. And then I was finding out, like, man, these kind of, some women, they used to meeting dudes with some real bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the time. So it kind of humbled me. Me thinking, oh, I'm going to go to France and go to Privé. That sounds cool. Nobody can do that. Then I get that. I'm like, I'm in a regular suite. Dudes done bought out the president. I can't even get in there. Like, I'm like, oh,
Hey, Diego, they will size you up quick, won't they?
Yeah, they size you up quick, man. It's a dick measuring contest fast. They make you they humble your ass quick. So that's why I'm not flashy no more. I'm like done being flashy in the hood get you robbed too. So
exactly. In my hood all day. Ask Kanye. My hood all day. Dude, you think you got a $500 suite? And she like, yeah, this nice. She's like, what? Like, well, you know, I was just upstairs with such and such last week, man. That's $40,000 a night. Whoa. Who is this Negro? What are we doing? So
I'm gonna say something that Mr. Yah was talking about too, and I'm gonna tell this to brothers that they do watch this, because you said brothers need to listen up, Joe. Brothers be thinking it's sisters too. They be like, man, you got to get the right woman, man. Sisters don't be want to listen to. They be talking about sisters. Well, guess what? I was married, and the girl I was married to was a white girl, and she still didn't do the shit right. It's about finding the right person no matter what. Okay?
Yeah.
And there's plenty of sisters out there that they can be the ones that get your back and do the things the right way, man. It's all about mindset that Mr. Yah was talking about. You know, it started in an imagination type thing, but it became real, and it becomes so real at first before it becomes real. But it's all about being focused. And like I said, I'm not flashy, Joe, because I understand where I came from. I know how it started. And like I said, I've been humbled several times by several men. And I'm saying I met guys, like I said, you know, I've flown private a lot, but I know guys that own jets, and you would never know it. They don't look like it.
Yeah, I've met a lot of millionaires. You wouldn't know that they were millionaires. I know a lot of people that I'm doing business with now. If you look at them regularly, you would know they own 10 gas stations, you know. Yeah. They drive around, and these are mostly foreigners because they see wealth differently. They more willing to take care of their families back home than anything to be flashy for the most of them that I see. But it's very important. I think this is a very important for those who are listening. If you are looking to change your life, there are two things you need to put yourself around. There's two different types of people. One is the person that inspires you. No matter what, they inspire you. They believe in what you're doing. They support you, and they somehow encourage you to go for it. And every time you're around somebody that inspires you, do you know before you get around them, you straighten up the way you look, you straighten up the way you sound. Think about when you're going to be around somebody that's very inspirational to you. You look at yourself before you walk through that door. Before I go through, you don't want to go through that door slouchy, sad, and depressed, because you know they don't work. And the second person to be around is a person you inspire. Now think about the person that looks up to you. When they're getting ready to walk through your door, don't you kind of straighten yourself up a little bit, because you know this person that comes in looks up to you, right? And so the two things that I always say: help somebody around you that inspires you, and help those around you who you inspire. You can never go wrong. You will always stay on the right path of whatever it is you're here to do on this planet. And one of the things I say is that there's when we're talking about success, I have to ask an individual, when we're doing this discussion, I would say, when someone comes to me about this discussion, I would say, what are you here for? Meaning, why are you on this earth? Why are you in this dimension? And actually, people say a lot of stuff, but there's actually only two reasons why you're here. There's only two. There isn't a three or four or fifth one. You are here to express and to experience. That's it. You are here to express whatever it is, ideals or expression or whatever creativity that's uniquely yours, because every individual have a uniquely gift to offer humanity. So you are here to express. This is why we're all different. This is why we think different. This is why we look at things differently. And you are also here to experience. You want to experience this life. If you was on the other side, meaning the side that you are going to go to, meaning every day we're walking towards our death, right? So if you was already on the other side, would you tell yourself you enjoyed this life? Or would you tell yourself, damn, I wish I'd have did more? So understand this, that you are here for only two reasons: to express and to experience. You want to experience good life. You want to eat good food. You want your cells dancing in your body. You don't want to be sick and ill and always depressed, right? And surely you don't want nobody around you sick and ill and always depressed. So you want somebody around you that's also healthy, that's also inspiring you to be healthy. Hell, I got people inspire me for health. I got people over here inspire me for business, right? And I'm doing the both. So I keep a circle around me that inspires me, because even if I inspire those, guess what? In that inspiration, it inspires me that I can inspire another. So you see the yin and yang, you see the resonating where the energy is flowing, because all energy is reciprocal. It comes and it goes. You can't hold on to it. You got to let it flow, right? And so I pay attention to that, and I tell everyone, look at the people you're around. Do they inspire you one way or another? If they don't, get rid of them. And look at the people you're around. Are you inspiring anybody? If you're not, get rid of them, because those are the people that's always going to have their hands out, or always going to look at something negative about you. And you can't keep that person in your circle.
My brother get deep every time. He put my Farrakhan shades on. Let me get my Louis Farrakhan shades on, brother.
So I tell you,
blessings.
Tell you.
You know what I mean? Well, man, be going deep, man. Brother, y'all, you so deep with it, man. But that's true. People do need to inspire each other, man. You ain't the only one got some glasses, Joe.
Hey, you know what? On that, we're gonna have to wrap it up, man. I mean, this is just nothing but nuggets all day long, man. It's just kind of crazy how wild a conversation like this gets. But you know, I want to encourage you. I'm gonna post the YouTube link as well. Anybody wants to share and replay for people, because this is just a conversation. I feel like we need to have this on a I don't know. I don't know, John. I say this a lot. We need seminars, man. We need seminars. We need
panels. Exactly.
Yeah, we need panels, seminars. We need all of that, because you know, and I still like in-person stuff, you know, and nowadays we do in-person / Zoom, you know, and in-person / digital. But yeah, you know, and Edward, you have an idea as it pertains to that, and I think you know what I'm speaking to. That's a plug for that idea. But you know, when you start talking about that, we have an idea. You know, I think the four of us can come together and push that idea, Edward. I think we should kind of collaborate, because that's that right there. The form that we're talking about, Edward came up with an idea, and I think it's dope. So we need to offline talk some more about that, because I think that would be absolutely dope. But I do want to speak to one thing, you know, the definition of wealth, because we've been talking about money and stuff all day. And, you know, before we go, I want to kind of speak to that. I know personally when you're talking financial, then a layman's definition of wealth that I've always looked at was the ability to live the life you want to live without having to work for it. That has always been a layman's definition of financial wealth. But at the same time, wealth in family, there's a lot of different ways that you can, pivot when you start talking about wealth. But real quick before we go, everybody give a quick definition of what they believe wealth is to them.
All right, you guys want me to go since I'm the youngest?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because especially since you're like under 40 and you're about to retire in like a year or two. So go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I'm single, ladies, but check it out. Get them
Might
panels.
as well.
Get them,
You find
get
the
them
one that's,
panels. Get them panels going.
You might find your vibration right here, bro.
Vibrating. Be slim thick. But check this out. Honestly, when I think of wealth, I think of a couple of words. I think of the word, of course, abundance. That's the word people like to throw around metaphorically when we talk about this a lot. I also think about, people look at it from a different perspective, but I look at prosperity. And then I also look at, the ability to be affluent or to influence others. So it's more about that to me. People kind of like to massage this word so many times. I know it does. And it has to some way relate to assets, possessions, things of that nature. Don't get me wrong. I mean, people want to play around with it, make it just like it's just a spiritual thing. Sure. But it is also encompassing things that deal with transaction or physical possessions or having assets and things like that, right? Being able to move things further than where they were right before, and even be able to disseminate that stuff, pass it to relatives, friends, people in need, loved ones, other Black people, or other people that you deem that inspire you, as Mr. Yah said. But to me, I just think of the words abundance, affluence, and prosperity. They're all good things about wealth, and you have to be constantly in the mindset that you want to build upon those things all the time. I just use those as my 3 pillars, right? To constantly be there. Am I thinking in abundance, right? Am I trying to live the life of abundance? Am I trying to also be influential or affluent, right? Yeah, I want my kids to understand being the ability of being around affluence, right? I think a lot of Black people live in poverty, and they have a poverty mindset a lot of times instead of thinking of a abundance or affluent mindset, right? We have brothers and sisters from the 60s in suits and everything being well educated without having to go get the education. So being affluent means you can take something that is inside you and make it greater even within your own neighborhoods, right? Rebuild Black America, so to speak, or anything like that, right? Wakanda. But and the last thing I said is prosperity, because you kind of want to not just talk about wealth and play the game of being just only spiritual or getting a few things here. You actually want to be able to be prosperous with it. Like I said, to me, when people talk about their businesses, everybody said their business owner today. I mean, like I said, I didn't care about business. I just cared about making money. And then I learned to do it through business. But I hear people start LLCs and they talk business, but I look at prosperity as something you're actually prospering for. You're actually profiting. You're actually growing it. You're turning it into something that can be prosperous, not just for you, right? Because in the end of the day, wealth without sharing it is what? So I'm a people person, believe it or not. I really believe that we should come together. I don't think people should be apart. I think man and woman should come together. I don't like this whole battle between men and women, Black man versus Black woman, or vice versa. Man, we need each other, right? I can build all this wealth, but if I ain't got nobody to share it with, what's the point? So I'm supposed to just take it and just do nothing with it? Now, don't get me wrong. I got some stuff going on, but I ain't going to give everything to my kids either. They getting a percentage to my son and my niece and nephew. Then I got other people I'm giving this stuff to, right? So like I said, abundance, affluence, prosperity. That's all I got. Single ladies.
Great
oh
words,
man, and they responding accordingly just the same.
When I size this up, I'm gonna qualify it, then I'll quantify it. I was rich the day I was born, right? Now, I'm not talking monetarily. I'm talking about there's people that love me. I was surrounded by a community that was great. I had all my wits and my limbs about me. you know, not a lot of people know this, but I'm in the top 10% of smartest people in the world. So I know my IQ is great, and I've been blessed. So I felt like I was rich when I didn't have a quarter. When I got a quarter, I learned the burdens of being rich. I learned that not everybody liked me. Not everybody was on my team, even though they said they were. I realized that I had to cut people that I really genuinely liked, because the mission is hard enough. It's even harder when you got dead weight and people dragging you, right? And so you have to get a spirit of discernment when you become financially rich. There's no discernment in being rich spiritually, because the world is loving you and you're just loving the world. But the burden with the money is totally different, because people look at you and seeing you different. But being rich, even monetarily, doesn't make you wealthy. The Bible says a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So to me, when I read that, the only thing God said is, okay, if you got a quarter, then what about your grandkids? Not my kid. Well, I'm like, well, how can I skip over my kid? Well, dang, I got to get him wealthy to get so he can get his kids wealthy, and now they got to get their kids wealthy. Now we're building generational wealth, which can't stop, because we got to be prosperous in building that generational wealth. Now we're wealthy. Now my picture deserves to be above the fireplace, because I'm 4 generations deep, right? So when I'm thinking about being wealthy, I'm thinking about how am I influencing my immediate circle? How am I influencing the people that I call friends? Am I being a good enough friend to them? And like Oprah did Gail, do I want to go to the Bahamas by myself, or do I want somebody to come with me? Do I want to pay for them, or do I want to teach them how to make money so they can have the same freedoms that I have? So that's where I'm at now. I had somebody tell me the other day, people will always love you where you are. Man, love you just the way you are. Keep acting the fool, keep getting drunk with them, keep being whatever you are with them. They love you.
Yeah.
I love you where I'm trying to push you. Do this. Do this. Get better at this, bro. Come on, man. Take care of that. Be more responsible. I love you where I'm trying to push you. And to me, I think that's my way of influencing and starting to build wealth in people, because, like Diego said, you don't want to do it alone. I got my wife. We're an awesome team. If she's all I ever had, I'd be great. But man, what if you got friends and their wives are like them, and now you got a circle, and now we got a generation of people who the entire circle's kids are set for life? Then the conversation becomes so much different. Then the pull is so much different, because guess what? And this is gonna sound small, John. I could give you $15,000-$20,000, because I know you don't really need it. You could give it back, or you may be doing some other business or something like that. It's hard for me to give you $15,000-$20,000 when your mindset is to blow it. You don't have it. You never exhibited what to do with it, or you just leaning on me because I got it. So my nugget to people: if you want to be wealthy, don't let blood and social ties tie you down. Get it. Circle back. It's cynical. It hurts. It's lonely. They are not going to like you. But in 5 generations, your picture better be above the fireplace. Because while they liking each other, while they loving each other, you set the groundwork. And that's who I am. I'm the groundwork. That's wealth.
Nice. That's funny. It makes me think about you. I remember you said to your brother James one time, it's like, I'll loan James $100,000, but James ain't gonna ask me for $100,000 because he got it, you know. And it just made me think of that when you said that. But you know, John, go ahead. You know, we'll end it with you. You know, your thoughts on wealth definition.
I like what the brother said. You was born wealthy. Absolutely right. You were born in this dimension with all the faculties. If you were born with all the faculties you need to survive in this dimension that we're in, to accumulate the the nutrients that we need to feed our cells. You know, we have over 100 trillion cells in our body, and each cell are communicating with another cell to get the job done, whatever you need to do in this dimension, whether it's chemistry, just doing this. Chemistry, it takes chemistry to do this, right? It takes chemistry, right? That's wealthy. Some people can't do that, right? And so you're based on what you have in your condition in this dimension. Now, I like to put it like in the words of frequencies. Everyone functions on different frequencies, and everything and everything that you see and touch are all frequencies. So let me give you an example. Have you ever thought about something or someone, then all of a sudden you see the object a lot because you thought about it? Maybe you thought about driving a Mercedes Benz and you just kind of thought about it. And all of a sudden, by thinking about it, you start seeing Mercedes everywhere. Well, what does that mean? Does it mean that they just appeared? No, what it means is that you just now tapped into that frequency. You see? So everybody, family members, friends, we all on different frequencies. Somebody can come and say, man, I didn't know you was doing this. That's because I've been doing it, but you wasn't on the same frequency to see me doing it. Yes, that's their problem. It ain't my issue. That's the issue that they lack in their frequency. So it's just like thinking of a song. You turn the radio on, the song's playing. Why is that? Because your body sends out a frequency of a thought, and it sends out to match that which is looking for, which is the same frequency, to bring it into your space. This is just how it is. This is wealth. Understanding this is wealth, because what this tells you is that the universe gives you what you want. All you got to do is adjust your frequency. And once you begin to adjust that frequency and know that you are abundant, the universe says, boom, you are abundant. I'm going to give you whatever it is you're asking for. Because you are abundant, you see yourself as abundant. Don't let no one tell you that you're lacking. I don't care how much lack of money you don't have or materials you don't have. I came from solitary confinement. You can't tell me I didn't have. You couldn't tell me that I had a lot. For me to be able to imagine that I had more through just the imagination, that was a frequency that the universe said, hey, this guy's acting wealthy, and yet he's in solitary confinement. Well, let's get him where he's thinking. It's called frequency. And that's the abundant. We lost the ability to dream like we were children. Remember when we was kids, we had this great imagination. It was out there. Somehow something stopped that and blocked that imagining, where we stopped imagining things outside of our environment. I used to take something as simple as a pen and make a flying saucer out of it. Just what I saw in my mind, right? As a child being creative. The creative mind should never stop. I'm still creative, and I'm 60 years old. I'm working on another patent. I'm working on another trademark inside my business of another product. So I'm always thinking, because why? I'm still a childlike mind. Well, I have this great imagination that I'm still using and practicing, and I'm not allowing the environment around me or the people to block that thought. The thought itself is abundant. And God, whatever it is you want to call this power, it gave it to you. Who in the world can take it from you is your fault. No one should be able to take away your greatest gift. That's the imagination. You can imagine whatever you want. And this is one of the things they did to us in slavery by blocking us, didn't want us to read, didn't want us to think. And when you are under a condition of stress, guess what? Your stress hormone kicks in. It's a hormone called cortisol. Your stress hormone kicks in, and now you can't have no imagination because you are up against the wall with survival. It is no different than the wildebeest being chased by a lion. It can't think about grazing. Its ass is trying to survive. And this is the condition they keep us in this country. If you are black and you fall for it, meaning cop killed black person, it stresses you out. Another person was killed by black, it stresses you out. If you into that, then those create stress hormones in you. Now you're blocking your blessing. Now you're not wealthy. Now you don't see abundance because you see survival, and that's all you see. And that's the stress right there alone. So the greatest wealth you can have, period, is the ability to think. Hey, there's a person that don't have no arms and legs, or have no arms, eating with their feet, and they're smiling every day. Because their imagination make them say, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna cook my food with my feet, and I'm gonna learn how to eat this way. And guess what? They are happy. So imagination is the greatest tool you can use. Hey, if you don't have imagination, you're done. You might as well go ahead on and wrap it up, baby, if you won't have just that one thing, to imagine yourself greater than out of this environment. So yes, the greatest wealth you have is an imagination, and you're born with that.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is John, I've said it before, and I would attend that church on Sunday. Okay, so you know what I mean. The church of wealth creation, the church of good vibrations. You know what I mean. I would attend that church on Sundays. But with that, being said, then we're gonna go ahead and jet out of here. This has been definitely a staple show and fantastic conversation. And I think where people resonate the most to this is just seeing the candid conversation. This was open, candid conversation into the minds of people who are a minority in the way that they think in our community. Yet you see what they've created, and now you have to be sitting there looking and saying, man, maybe I need to be thinking differently. Maybe I need to change my mindset. I need to get on my game and focus. Hey, both of y'all mentioned the military. I know Uncle Michon is jumping for joy right now hearing about the military, because that's his biggest thing. But he said it brought him structure, it brought him focus, it brought him a lot of things that pushed him more towards a conservative viewpoint as to why he's more financially solvent today than he was many years before. So, this is definitely something, and I'm a hit in the chat group for, the four of us. I'm gonna talk to Edward first about that idea, and then see if it's cool to mention it in the chat group, and see if we can collaborate on that, because there's this idea about a forum to create for more stories like this to come out and allow people to listen up. So everybody out there on social media, y'all can look on the comments as well. Everybody's got much love, respect for the conversation, for you brothers. Couple I'm single 2 posts out there as well. So
that's right. I'm not married. I'm trying to get married again one of these days.
Exactly.
I might be Mr. Y'all age when I get married. I might wait till I'm 60. I'm gonna get there. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, fellas, until next time, this is actually the second time that both of y'all have been on our show. You were on our show in different facets. Edward was actually on our show with his wife, talking about the business and marriage and the business of marriage, as well as Diego talking about business, another business as well. So, it's kind of cool that y'all are back in a much more candid form. So until next time, brothers, we're going to talk. I love all y'all. Brother John, you like a big brother to me. This cat calls my pops or whatever. I don't even know what they talk about. Brother Ed, you family all day long, big brother. I'm when I walk in the room to their family, the first joke is about being light skinned. You know what I mean? It's I'm usually the one that makes it, but we chop it up like that because it's all family. The extended family is family, and I love it. Diego, I'm realizing more and more I'm taking you on like a little brother, big brother. So I love all y'all and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, we'll see you again.
Hey, peace, brothers. And before y'all go, definitely, man, I look forward to one day sitting down with y'all in person, and maybe we can chop it up over a nice meal,
I've been trying to get to John Yah's table to eat dinner for a minute, so maybe this will make it happen.
I'm flying y'all brothers. I'm flying y'all brothers to the Bahamas. Come eat dinner with me, man. I'm about to go to the Bahamas.
Man.
We with it, bro.
Let's do it.
I'm going by
Let's
myself,
do
man. Mr. Moore say he go with his wife. I'm going by myself to the Bahamas. I'm be bored over there.
It's all good,
she's
man. I'm
stingy
sure
like
we
that.
all
I'd rather
can make
go
it.
by myself. It's a different party.
Yeah.
All right,
Let
fellas.
me go before I get in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I appreciate you, brothers, man. Great build, man. Great build.
All right, now y'all be easy.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.